Several states are declaring states of emergency because their food stamp money is going to run out. I'm going to say that again. Several states have declared a state of emergency because they're not getting money from the federal government for food stamps. Now, they're doing this so they can start pulling funds from other areas because that's how important this is to many of them. And I wonder how much the fear of riots plays into it. TheRoot.com is trying to make a viral video happen. It's not happening, where a woman is organizing a mass riot on a scheduled date. I kid you not. She says, everybody on this date, go to Walmart at this time because they can't arrest all of us and run, Forrest, run. Apparently, she's not familiar with Three Stooges syndrome, where when you try to jam all of the people through the door at one time, they can't get out and thus will be easily arrested. So we'll talk about that. Plus, fears of, I know everybody and their mother says it, World War III, because Donald Trump has ordered the beginning of nuclear testing, which is interesting nonetheless. And we've got a judge saying that he's going to order Trump to unfreeze these benefits. So we'll talk about that and a lot more. Before we do, we got a great sponsor. It is Bearskin, my friends. You guys have seen the Bearskin hoodie that I wear sometimes? It's amazing. It's super comfortable, and I absolutely love it. 340 GSM Bearskin, BAER skin, micro fleece. So smart people right now, they're getting their winter gear because it's starting to get cold out. This is hands down the best time to prep for the coming winter. Bearskin is running a 60% off deal right now, but only if you get your hoodie early. This hoodie is built like a tank, 340 GSM micro fleece, 10 pockets with a clean, rugged fit that looks awesome. Plus, it zips right into the heavy storm rain jacket to become 100% waterproof when you need it. So when it turns cold, wet, and windy, you're not scrambling at the last minute. You'll get free U.S. shipping, fast delivery, and you locked in your winter gear already. That's a win-win. So do yourself a favor. Text the word Tim to 36912 to lock in your 60% off. Again, that's Tim to 36912. You'll get a link sent straight to your phone. You can click it whenever you want to buy the hoodie. It's fantastic. And one more thing, when you support Bearskin, you're also supporting the Fallen Outdoors and Hope for the Warriors veterans programs. So you're not just buying great gear, you're backing a cause that matters. Don't wait till you're freezing. Text Tim to 36912. And my friends, head over to castbrew.com. We got a promo, Turkey 20. That's right. Right now, for this month, if you use promo code Turkey20, you're getting 20% off all Cast Brew products. But wait, that includes subscriptions. So if you subscribe to any one of these coffees on a recurring basis, you will keep the 20% off discount as long as you keep the subscription going. Now, the code will stop working eventually, but if you subscribe, you'll get it forever. That means when you pick up your Mary's Ghost Blend s'mores flavor, 20% off. Your Appalachian Nights, 20% off. Your Ian's Graphene Dream. That's right, Seamus.
And even, well, no, that's not mine.
What? No, you're supposed to say your coffee.
Are you shouting me? Oh, yeah, of course. And the Luck of the Seamus, the best friggin' coffee there. Are you kidding me?
That's right.
Luck of the Seamus. Look at that. Look at that beautiful, and look at the beautiful art on that. Straight from Freedom Tunes Studio.
That's right. And you get that bag with that deranged leprechaun screaming.
I don't know that he's deranged.
Well, his eyebrows aren't attached to his face, so.
Well, that's just how things are in cartoon land sometimes, but there's nothing particularly wrong with him.
Right on. Well, go to castbrew.com, 20% off Turkey 20. But don't forget to also smash that like button. Share the show with everyone you know. It's going to be a lot of fun tonight. We are being joined by Elaine Culotti.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
I can't believe where you live.
Out in the middle of nowhere?
I mean, good God.
Well,
it's so wonderful.
I love it. Who are you? What do you do?
Oh, I'm from California. And
I can't believe where you live.
You're
gonna dog on this place.
I know. I spent quite a bit of time with your staff, and they're quite interesting. And Josh is from California.
Yeah.
And that was the number one question: is have you ever wanted to leave? You know, and I'm like, no. I want to stay. I want to stick it out. Don't worry about me. Worry about my enemies.
Well, so what do you do?
Build houses. I have a farm. I've got a farm business.
You have chickens?
I have chickens.
That's good news.
I got a lot of chickens.
Pass the test.
Yeah, we got lots of chickens.
Excellent.
We have a farm stand. We do CSA. Hey, we do SNAP.
Oh.
Yeah. Our SNAP program's fine, by the way.
We have a large painting of a rooster behind Mary.
I like that.
Yeah, chickens are great.
The roosters drive me crazy, by the way. We have a bunch of them, and they just never stop.
It's
They're
true.
Worst.
They're just yelling.
The chickens are fine. The roosters are a bit loud. So I came out to DC. I've been in DC this week, and I've been meeting with a bunch of lawmakers, trying to help out California.
Well, it needs it.
Yeah, we met with EPA.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. EPA's interested in cleaning up the California River and the Tijuana River and the Colorado
good
where they
news.
collide there. So that's good. Yeah.
Right on. Well, it should be fun. Thanks for hanging out. We're going to have a good time.
I'm really glad to be here.
Absolutely. Got Mary hanging out.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mary Morgan, and you can usually find me on Pop Culture Crisis here at Timcast. I know that you already got the Cast Brew shill, but I'm going to shill again because you should go get Mary's Ghost Blend. And apparently now you can get 20% off with Turkey 20. So that's even better. It's cheap.
My name's Seamus Coughlin. I am the creator of Freedom Tunes. We've done over 600 animated videos. We've got over 290 million views with $0 spent on marketing. The way people learn about the world and form their values is through story. And nowadays, we have the most robust technological infrastructure for delivering stories that has ever existed, and it is owned almost exclusively by our enemies, people who want to chip away at our culture and erode our way of life through their propaganda. That's why myself and my team do what we do to push back, and that's why we're stepping out and expanding into creating a full half-hour-long TV-length show with episodes that range from roughly 22 to 25 minutes. At twistedplots.com, you can go and support our show. You can see our pilot episode. It's already been created, and you can help us win the culture war, which we cannot win without creating culture. So go over to twistedplots.com, contribute $25. We've got 2 weeks left in the campaign. Help us to make this a reality, because we will not win the culture war without creating culture. And I've got the team, I've got the track record, and I've got the experience. With your support, I will be unstoppable.
Let's go. All right. Here's the first story from Newsweek. SNAP benefits update emergency declared as funding runs out. Oh boy, who's doing it? New York Governor Kathy Hochul has declared a state of emergency on Thursday after federal funding shortfalls threatened SNAP. Hochul posted on X, the Trump administration would rather starve children and families than lift a finger to help them put food on the table. I'm declaring a state of emergency to use every tool we have to help the 3 million New Yorkers losing food assistance because of the GOP shutdown. But wait, Maryland has declared a state of emergency. What do they say?
Maryland, Bethesda has closed.
No. You can shut up. Maryland Governor Wes Moore declared a state of emergency on Thursday over the upcoming loss of SNAP benefits. Quote, Donald Trump is refusing to deploy emergency federal funding that would keep food assistance programs running during the shutdown. By doing that, I want to be clear, he is breaking the law. And then Delaware did it. Delaware governor declared state. Okay, we get the point. They're all starting to declare emergencies over SNAP because large portions of our society are dependent upon the government for their very existence. And I do not view this as sustainable, nor do I view this as Donald Trump's fault. I was talking with Senator Rand Paul earlier, and he was pointing out that Democrats are the ones who are blocking this. They could vote for it at any point. And the important distinction here, which Rand Paul brought up, this is a continuing resolution from the Biden budget. It is exactly what Biden had already approved, and Democrats were for it then, and now are acting like they can't sign it now.
So I want to ask you, you mentioned you do farm work, or you have a farm?
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah. So we've been talking about this, about the fact that SNAP obviously affects the price of food, and grocery stores have very thin profit margins, and so it's difficult to work out exactly how this is going to affect the economy and food markets overall. I'm curious if you have any particular insight into that as someone who is a farmer and has experience with agriculture.
Well, SNAP is an evolution. Food stamps weren't SNAP. They weren't called SNAP. They're now called SNAP. Originally, it was a supplement. I think supplement might be the first
Supplemental nutrition.
There you go.
Assistance.
That's right. Yeah.
It was vegetables, fruit, nuts. It was things that were natural and organic. And so they would send it to grocery stores, and then you could turn in your SNAP coupons at grocery stores. Now it's part of EBT, which is the electronic benefit, which is how they just deposit money into your account. And so SNAP has to go from a farm to be packed and washed and sent to a grocery store. And by the time it gets there, it's really not so focused on just really good high nutrient food.
Yeah, you can use EBT cards to purchase candy bars.
Okay,
Exactly. People are buying
Coca-Cola
prepared food and then selling it in plates on Facebook Marketplace to other people in the hood on an upcharge. So they're literally making a profit off of their SNAP benefits.
Yeah.
You know about this?
I mean,
It's like a whole
there's been a long
culture
history
around
of that.
this.
There's been a long history of, kind of brutalizing the food stamp business. And people have been selling their food stamps for decades. The sad part is that, really the SNAP program needs to be standalone. That's what kind of I think Bobby Kennedy was working on through HHS, was to have SNAP be sort of a program where it really was fruit, vegetables, nuts, things that are potatoes, and then it would go to fulfillment centers, and then it would be, last mile delivery. You could still buy it on coupons, but you'd actually get good food. You wouldn't be able to go there and sell them and convert. And I know that that's not what this is about. This is simply about the fact that the government shut down. But at the end of the day, my farm stand, we are doing SNAP. And most of the people that I know in California that have independent farm stands and independent grocery, they're doing SNAP.
So I'm curious, do you know when this changed and why? When they decided to move away from giving people genuinely nutritious foods and started to allow them to basically purchase anything at a grocery store?
I am not sure when it happened, but it would be, I would say in the last 15 years, this whole thing has become so corrupt. The amount of money that they're fighting over is $187 billion.
Wow.
Do you know
Just
if
think
there
about that.
are any restrictions on what you can buy with SNAP?
Sure, there are, but
hot stuff. You
The
can't-
grocery store is not going to.
No hot things.
Cooked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Imagine
they
if
call
you
it.
get groceries and they go bad. You're gonna give the stamps back. You just give somebody something else. It's all about farm to table has to be, two-hand touch. It can't sit for weeks and weeks and weeks. It's very difficult to deliver fresh food on this kind of a program.
It is, I think, probably the large corporations lobbying to change the system to allow people to buy whatever they want, because soft drinks are two of the top 10 items purchased with food stamps.
And it's so much profit.
Right, and they're saying Walmart's going to lose billions of dollars. So these big corporations have been subsidizing themselves off of taxpayer dollars.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
laughably insane. And it's not just that. There's this old documentary from like 15, 20 years ago talking about how Walmart, and maybe this is wrong or whatever, but I saw this in some documentary. Walmart would tell staff, if you can't afford to work here because you don't make enough money, apply for welfare on top of your pay to supplement, to offset. And
Wow.
so,
Not right.
Wow.
so the argument for a long time has been that Walmart subsidizes themselves through making their workers take benefits and then having people use benefits to buy from Walmart.
Well, and it's funny because left-wing people will try to use that as an argument for why we shouldn't cut EBT. I'm like, that you think that's a good argument? Like, I'm supposed to want to prop Walmart up with tax dollars?
I mean, I don't think the majority of the right is even advocating for SNAP to be abolished.
No.
They're just saying that we need to root out the corruption. A lot of the people who actually need it and would be more deserving of it, hardworking people who are married, don't qualify because they make responsible decisions. And so many people who don't need it are getting it.
I like that. In order to receive the benefits, you have to be married for at least a certain amount of time, and you can't get a divorce.
That's a huge reason why people are applying for it and getting denied is because they're married.
I think
What,
that
really?
people that are single need it
I
more.
saw a lot of people talking about this on Twitter saying, like, I'm married, my husband makes, whatever, less than 40K, less than 30K a year. And they've applied for SNAP before and got denied. And they wonder why. And people say it's because you're married. You're more likely to get it. You're more likely to get approved for all sorts of benefits if you're unmarried, and that's incentivizing irresponsibility.
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying, by the way, that there are single mothers, for example, who might need this, but part of the difficulty is the program ends up creating an incentive that pushes fathers out of the homes. And so you go, how is there a way to structure this where we ensure that people who really do need it are getting it, but where it's not creating these broken homes? Because, and there are also instances, this is gonna, not to shock and scandalize anyone in this audience, right? I'm sure you guys have never heard of this, but there are people who will live together outside of marriage and they could get married, but one of the reasons they don't is because if they do, the woman will not be able to continue to collect the welfare that she's getting.
Yep.
People are lying about the members of their household in order to get accepted for these applications.
Yep.
And you know what? The only reason why there should be a state of emergency declared in any of these states is because people are openly threatening to riot and loot stores on TikTok with their whole face showing, their whole government name on their profile.
Well,
Yep.
Well, wait a second.
the thing is, you guys know the story of perverse incentive, where it was like the British colonials in
Yes.
India
Yes.
said,
We
we
did a
got
video on this.
we got a snake problem, so we're gonna pay you, $1 for every snake head you bring us. And they went, okay. They went home and started breeding snakes. So they thought they were going to get rid of them, and they just made the problem worse. And that's exactly what we get with this program, although it's not funny.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's very sad. Part of the interesting thing about that particular story is you got to remember this was the British in India. So there's not going to be the same level of solidarity built up between the government and the people there. And the same thing actually happens with the federal government. When this stuff is handled by local communities, people who know each other are feeding their neighbors, it's a completely different story. You're more discerning about who gets the food. People who have a reputation for being liars or being hustlers or being scammers or grifters are going to be weeded out just by virtue of what their reputation is. But because we federalized all of this, it makes it nearly impossible to figure out who the liars are, who the phonies are.
One of the big parts of EBT was during the mass immigration into the United States, the EBT tax coupon things that they gave them were in the thousands. So people had money in a bank account to go to grocery stores. I've read several articles on, the amount of EBT that was handed out to people coming over the border. I mean, that's what the big argument is with the Trump administration is basically that we can't afford illegal alien SNAP programs. We can't afford medical for illegal aliens. That's really what the big argument is. That's what they're really fighting about. The real issue for me is that you can't get fresh food across the country. And so it becomes corrupt just because it costs too much. It's never going to be fresh. So we might as well sell cigarettes and beer and we'll just use the SNAP coupons for that. That's kind of really what's going on. And $187 billion of that is crazy.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. It's interesting because what the left has been doing is they've been going, oh, well, actually, illegal aliens are not getting these benefits. It's like, okay, non-citizens absolutely are, though. And what happens is because the Biden administration and basically every left-wing administration or political authority for the past several decades has given people temporary protected status whenever they can, thus making them non-illegal even though they're not citizens, it extends welfare benefits to those people.
They call them, I think, lawful entrants.
Exactly.
So they enter the country illegally. And then when law enforcement, CBP or ICE say, you stop right there, they go, asylum. And then they're like, oh, they got us.
Yeah.
I guess we can't deport them now. They're lawful entrants.
And I have all this EBT I need to spend.
Exactly. They said the magic word.
Even though there's USC 1325, which states entering the country from anywhere other than an official port of entry is illegal. Mm-hmm. Illegal. So the reality is, we've said it, these people, these Democrats live in an entirely different country. The laws of our Congress and Constitution, it doesn't matter to them. They are somewhere else.
Yeah, that's absolutely
in
right.
LA, we don't have to worry because they haven't funded Prop 36. So if you don't have any food, you can just go into the grocery store and take it. So it's fine.
Well, that's
Wasn't
what
it like $900 worth of theft or something?
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
71% or something like that voted for this law to be passed, and now they won't fund it.
Yeah.
What's the law?
Prop 36. So right now, because of COVID, they were like, people can steal and we're not going to prosecute. And it was up to $900.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, a guy went into a thrifty and took $2,000 worth of stuff because it was 50% off. Okay. So.
That's so funny. It's awful, but it's funny.
The joke that we made was you should sell everything for $1,000, everything, and then offer up discounts at the register. And someone actually did it.
That's a great idea.
It didn't work.
You should have made that work. That's a great idea.
They tried doing it. I can't remember where, but the police were just like, no.
You just change it from the dollar store to the $1,000 store.
Yeah. the issue is, it's not. It doesn't matter if this law exists about the $900. What matters is, if somebody steals even a couple $100, they shoplift. If you work for a CVS and someone comes in and takes $100 worth of stuff and you call the police, they're going to be like, what would you have us do? Mm-hmm. It's going to take us 15, 20 minutes to get there. The person's going to be long gone. We take a report. No one will ever catch the person. So they just don't care. They don't show up.
We did. So back when this first became law that you could steal less than $900 worth of stuff in California, we did a cartoon where it was Gavin Newsom and he's like one of those crazy TV salesmen. And he's like, this bike previously $850, now free. And he's like rattling off all this stuff. And this laptop used to cost $700, now free.
Well, let's pull up this story from TheRoot.com. I don't know how you describe The Root. It is black news and black views with a whole lot of attitude.
Well, that's how you describe it, Tim.
How you describe it.
That's how you describe The Root.
If the SNAP benefits cutoff results in violence, it wouldn't be the first time. It's funny because I believe they changed the headline, which used to read, "The TikTok plan to stage a massive theft event at Walmart." And they said it was going viral. The problem is it's not going viral. They're just hoping that it happens. So they've got this post from TikTok, which I'll pull up and we'll play for you. You guys ready? Here you go. Listen to this.
Oh, people, my people, I wish we stopped crying about this motherfucking EBT card. At the end of the day, they trying to see is we gonna stick together. And we are gonna stick together. Fucking November 3rd at 6:30, we're going to Walmart. We're going to fucking Walmart. And at 7:30, we're gonna walk out of Walmart with our fucking buggies, okay? The thing is, they can catch everybody. You feel me? All you gotta do is run, Forrest, run. Okay? We have to stick to fucking together. It don't even matter. As long as we gonna have everything we need for Thanksgiving, that's all that fucking matters, bitch. Run, Forrest, run. Remember, put it in your calendar. November 3rd.
She should be arrested.
Remember
right now,
the 3rd of
criminally
November,
charged
the
with
EBT theft.
incitement to riot, whatever else they can get her on. But the funny thing is, the TikTok is not viral at all. It's got 500 likes. And the initial post from The Root claimed that it was going viral. I think the intention of the writers of The Root, because I think The Root was part of like the Gizmodo Network at some point. Oh, yeah, The Onion. Look there. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Opinion. I'm pretty sure it was a part of The Onion. It's like the same format, whatever. They wanted this to go viral.
So hold on,
to
but
be
her
fair,
ratio is bad
there is
too.
now an entire like libs of TikTok styled account called EBT of TikTok where there are thousands of people threatening to riot, threatening to loot stores, and inciting groups of people to do so. So it is a viral trend, even if that specific video isn't viral.
I'm just gonna be.
I have seen them.
This is not me blackpilling because there is no blackpilling and there's no blackpilling allowed. But when you are at this point as a nation where citizens are willing to just openly say in front of everyone in the public that they intend on stealing things, like it's over. All right,
There
this
were
is
more
not a
videos
healthy.
saying like we're gonna loot from the paid for groceries that white people are walking out with.
Well, oh yeah, we will just steal
Well,
it from people too. Well,
That's reparations.
And I just want to say too, like when I say that means your society's over, it 100% does. Christ has brought people back from the dead, right? Like God can bring our society back is what I'm trying to say. But by natural human means, like we're done. We're completely, we're cooked.
I just want to fact check. I was correct. It was part of The Onion. So GO Media. I believe this was after Gawker, and all those websites that got purchased. And it was Gizmodo, Jezebel, Deadspin, Lifehacker, Splinter, The Root, Kotaku, and Jalopnik. And The Onion portfolio, The Onion, Clickle, AV Club, and Takeout. And then I guess what happened was that whole thing collapsed. And now, as of 2025, it's just The Root, which once again is black news and black views with a whole lot of attitude.
A whole lot of
apparently also calling for everyone to mass loot Walmart. But I want to stress this. As someone who has been to a Walmart, as I'm sure some of you may have at some point, the doors there are not particularly wide, and there's usually two. There are two ways in and out, on the left and the right of the building. And if this woman's plan were to actually be implemented, these people would fall victim to Three Stooges syndrome, which is when everyone tries jamming through the door at the same time, they get stuck and will all be easily arrested. So that's not going to work. But she's not the only person who's been calling for this stuff. The calls for mass rioting and looting, it's nuts. You just gotta go arrest them all.
I think
James, don't say that there are no political solutions to this. There are certainly political solutions to this problem.
I think there are political solutions.
Enforce the law.
There are political solutions that could salvage certain parts of this country for a certain period of time. It's just that, listen, I'm going to quote Fulton Sheen again. Communism is not the thing that destroys a society. It's the rot that sets in when it's already dead. Like, I don't think we live in a time where we are desensitized to this. But if our ancestors saw that people were talking this way, if they saw the current state of affairs, they'd be like, oh yeah, you don't have society. You're like living,
They'd
not to
probably
be.
say, let's not do that whole slavery thing.
I don't know if this was from one of your videos or where I heard this, but what was I watching? It said, it might have been a Simpsons bit. There are a bunch of people in hell who did things a lot worse. I'm sorry. It said, there's a bunch of people in heaven today that did way worse things than the people who are condemned to hell for today. Right? Did I say that right?
I'm not sure.
Basically, the point is this. If you go back 300 years, people went to heaven and were engaged in brutal warfare, abject racism, slavery. And today, we are way, 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 way more, I don't know what the right word is, a combination of demure, weak, and also magnanimous.
Comfy, yeah.
The idea was like you have the conquistadors all just, they knew they were going to heaven. And today you've got people who are condemned to hell for a fraction of just thinking the things the conquistadors may have done.
Well, certainly for texting them. I think they should change the name of that thing to the loot.
Beautiful.
The worst thing about that video was not her calls for mass violence. It was the ASMR whispering. I think ASMR should be illegal. You know, I don't understand.
ASMR, we plan to rob Walmart when EBT goes out.
If you know, like I will these ASMR videos. You
We'll go to fucking Walmart.
I will
All of us.
I will punch a hole in the monitor. I will punch my phone so hard it will explode into fragments as soon as an Instagram ASMR video pops up.
ASMR looting.
I don't know what it is about people that they really want that low, whispery voice and scratching where it relaxes them. It brings me to the pinnacle of rage.
That's one of the
They're
reasons
gonna
I can't
actually
hear NPR.
rename shoplifting as like quiet shopping. That's what they
No,
do.
what was it?
No,
No, undocumented shopping.
Yeah.
Documented shopping.
It's not illegal. It's just not documented.
Stealing,
It's just
quiet
it's
shopping.
purchases they haven't made yet. Listen, I think undocumented iPhone owners should have the same path to legal ownership that people who went through the process to get their iPhone have.
We vote for a Democrat president so they can introduce the deferred action for shopping. what's the acronym? Deferred action for undocumented shop purchases.
so he doesn't have a receipt.
Man,
like
we're
so he's
gonna
not human.
see- I'm calling it now. Like after Halloween, we're gonna see the craziest rage bait trick or treat looting videos of
Black
all time.
Friday.
Like
It's all happening on the same day.
we're gonna see so
Well,
many.
Black Friday's a
Sherlins
month.
Well,
Stealing from the
Friday and
porch where
Halloween.
they put the bowl of candy out for them to take one. They're just, I mean,
Taking the whole bowl?
It's gonna be crazy.
Okay. I see a lot of these body cam videos on YouTube and Instagram. They pop up from time to time. And I'm sure you guys have seen this. Have you guys seen the videos where it's like someone tries filling up a shopping cart and walking out with it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I routinely see these videos. And it's always like, oh man, that's crazy. I can't believe they would do that. And the Walmart employee like doesn't know what to do. And then the person just walks off. Okay, well, I saw one today where the lady was walking the shopping cart out and some other, like a store employee got in front of her and said, you can't take this. And it was a black woman. She pulls what appears to be a Glock.
I saw that same video.
saw that one.
And she was trying to rope her children
Yeah.
into the criminal act.
That's crazy.
She was telling her
pulled a
children,
gun.
no, run out to the car, take the other cart.
I'm like, dude, we are cooked.
That's what
Seamus
I'm
is
saying.
right. He's
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm
there
saying.
is
It's
no
not
society.
That's
And
right.
it's just like the mindset is like mind your business. And that's a ton of the videos that they're just saying like if you're an employee or a fellow shopper and you see someone walking out with a whole cart of stolen items, mind your business.
Well, because think about the repercussions. We get told this all the time, and I've never agreed with this, much to my own detriment, I would imagine. But when I'm growing up in Chicago, it's a dangerous place, and you are told if someone robs you, give everything up. And my response was no. They're like, well, they'll kill you, and I'm like, guess I'll die. I can't believe you people choose to live this way. Because what ends up happening is you have explicitly just told every criminal in this city that the people will give you whatever you want. You know, I'm going to bet on they don't want to go to prison for the rest of their life. Not true for everybody. And they'd rather not get in a fight. So if someone comes up to me, I'm going to say no. And I only had one instance where it happened and the guy threatened me, but I got lucky because the cops were there. So I've never actually encountered, well, to be fair, to my own defense, I did tell a guy trying to mug me no, but I got saved by the cops. So who knows? Maybe he would have shot me. I just don't agree that we should live in a society where we all agree if someone wants to take from you, let them do it.
It's actually a life hack. You can say no, that's illegal. You're not allowed to do that.
Some of these like career criminals, congenital criminals, they don't think 15 seconds into the future, so they do not
Yeah.
have a fear of going to jail or getting caught or getting hurt in a fight. They don't have that fear.
So it's a coin toss. So there was this study they did where they took people who were convicted of multiple violent crimes against people, and they made them watch videos of people walking down the street. Then they were asked, who out of these people, if they were going to rob somebody, who would they rob? And sure enough, the people they chose had been robbed before. The people they did not were not robbed before. And the researchers believe it was the way they carried themselves.
Yeah.
Either the person was distracted or the person carried themselves with confidence. The people who are going to rob you, not always, but they're looking for an easy get. None of these guys who are robbing you want. I saw there's another viral video you may have seen where there's a handful of these, man. It's crazy. I watched one today where they're robbing a convenience store. And it's like some fat dude, and he's sitting behind the counter with his hands up, and they go through the register. And when the other guy walks to his buddy, he grabs a gun and just drops him instantly, and they run off. There's another video from Vegas that went super viral. We covered it at the time.
Wait, who dropped who?
The shopkeeper pulled out a gun and dropped
Him right there.
There was a viral video out of Vegas where two guys walk into a head shop with like a vape shop or something, wearing masks. And one guy tries going around the counter, and when the clerk runs to him, the other guy jumps over. So the clerk's got a knife in his hand and just boom, 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 over and over again. And you hear the robber going, "Stop, stop! Oh, I'm dead!" And then just collapses. He didn't die though. But the shopkeeper never got in any trouble. They were like, "You got masked guys robbing you." And
Oh, in
jumping
LA,
over.
you'd go straight to jail.
If you stabbed him.
Yeah.
Oh, in New York too.
No, first of all, you said something really interesting.
This was Vegas.
You said that you were getting mugged or whatever, and the police came. See, in LA, that doesn't happen.
Oh, I got lucky.
Yeah, well, in LA, the deal is that they want you to drive your car and leave the windows open and park it with nothing in it so that no one breaks the glass.
You guys
That's
remember
like-
To be
That's
mindful
one of the
of what the
instructions.
criminal wants.
Benny Johnson went to California, and while he was filming, someone tried breaking into his SUV to steal his stuff.
Yeah,
It's comedy. It's insane.
It's insane. They're like, don't wear your jewelry out when you're going on a walk. I mean, like, and if you call 911, you're like, hello, 911. They're like, what's your emergency? I'm like, you guys are, where are you? We've been calling.
But that's exactly. That's exactly it. That's the same as not having a society, right? No one's going to protect you. You literally have to fend for yourself.
Oh, but it's worse than that.
because
If you live in
exactly, it's anarcho-tyranny. You will
Right.
get in trouble if you do fight
Yeah,
back.
8,500 police officers for 4 million people.
So here's what you got to do. Here's what you got to do.
I mean-
if you're in California and you're walking down the streets of like LA or whatever, and some guy comes and robs you, you need to call the police and describe yourself as the robber. and then the police will come and they'll be like, "That's the burglar. How can we help?"
That's the point.
Where are the
that you
socioeconomic
reach
factors
when,
that made you do this?
When people believe that stealing is a victimless crime, this is the point that we reach. And you know, we learn it from childhood. I've been reading about like the history of anti-bullying campaigns, and one of the policies that so many schools implemented is that it doesn't matter who started the fight. You all get in trouble.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you're taught not to fight back when you're the victim of bullying.
That's like
what they
being
did when I
raised
was
in
a
an
kid.
Irish family.
See, I don't live in that world, I guess. I mean, maybe I'm lucky and it's like the last chapter out of Nam scenario where it's so much worse now than it was when I was younger. But I'd get into a fight. I don't care. I refuse to live in this. I've heard all these stories and I've had everybody tell me if someone comes up to you and they're robbing you, just give in. And I'm like, I'm not going to do it.
That study you mentioned, they did the same one with sex offenders. They identified women who seem like easy targets. They're the ones who are not aware of their surroundings, looking at their phones.
Yeah.
Their posture is it's turned inwards. If you're making eye contact and looking around you, they're not going to try to victimize you.
Yeah. One other strategy you do, I can't remember which sitcom this is from, but it was a woman and she said she dresses like a schizo and she walks down the street twitching and screaming and yelling at random things. She's like, I've never been bugged once.
That's what you got to do. You got to start barking at them.
It's like just never shower.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you want to live that way.
Well, this goes back to what I was saying earlier, which is that people are shaped by the stories they hear. For decades, every single time you saw a criminal on television, they were stealing bread to feed their family, right? This is what we have internalized. This is a narrative that we've been sold, is that people literally only steal things. They only break the law because at some point they were victimized and it's society's fault. I love the Fulton Sheen quote. He said there was no poverty in the Garden of Eden, right? That's an actually very important part of that story. People will do bad things even if they have everything.
Right.
And if that wasn't true, then how could we persist with this narrative that rich people are bad and rich people want to victimize others because they have all the materials that they could possibly need?
know, Jeff
That's
Bezos
why you got to help
gives
me tell the right
Venmo
stories,
everyone $1 million.
twistedplots.com.
Jeff Bezos should just Venmo everyone $1 billion, and then this wouldn't be.
Don't you guys remember?
no laws.
Don't you remember when Bloomberg was running, and on I think it was NBC News, that woman, I can't remember her name. She was like, "I just saw this. Mayor Bloomberg spent $500 million on his campaign, and there are 300 million Americans. He could give every American $1 million."
Yeah.
And Brian,
all be
I think it was
happy.
Brian Williams. He was like, "It's actually pretty crazy. That's true." And everyone's like, "You guys, it's $1.60.
They
What is
figured out
wrong with you?"
They figured out in LA that we've spent $900,000 per homeless person per year.
Wait, how much?
$900,000 per homeless
Just skim the 900.
per homeless person.
How is that
per-
possible?
Because they can't find this $28 billion or something. It's MIA. Welcome to LA.
LA intentionally keeps all these people homeless.
It's insane. It's
It's
so bad.
it's called the homeless industrial complex. It's not a joke. I know all
No,
about it.
no, yeah, it's real.
They get
right.
government funding from it. They lie to people. They don't want to solve the problem. And that's what happens when you get Democrat supermajority in your city, in your state, in your county, or whatever. So California's cooked. I don't know how much better off we're going to be, because I don't know that Trump can actually do anything. Let's jump to this story. We've got this from the Post Millennial. Former Coast Guard lieutenant, self-identified Antifa member, found not guilty of soliciting an assassination of Trump. Now, the issue, you may be asking yourself, what did he do? They say, an affidavit accused Stinson of calling for the assassination of Trump repeatedly since 2020. One post saying the orange man must go at any cost. Another said, "You see Trump drowning, what are you doing?" He said that he would feel like he would hit him in the head with an oar. He says he wants us dead. I want the same of him. In response to another user's post, same month, he wrote, "Somebody ought to do more than sue the orange MFs SS, and it involves a rifle and a scope, but I can't talk about it here. I'd be willing to pitch in $100 for a contract. We could solve the solvable part of this problem in a crack. I'll drive. I'm willing to drive. He needs. Okay, he kept saying it over and over again. So it's a clear crime.
Pretty clear, man.
Yes, but the problem is we are in a civil war. I mean, again, I say that in the figurative sense. We are clearly in a period of civil strife with factions. And when they brought this case, it took them 2 hours to acquit the guy for calling for the murder of Donald Trump. Have fun with where we're going next, because Jennifer, what's her name? Jennifer Welch from I've Had It podcast is getting tons of attention right now because she said if Democrats don't get on board with them murdering or wanting to murder conservatives, the Democrats will get the same treatment, implying they will kill the Democrats unless Democrats get on board with killing conservatives. That's where we're at. She's not been banned. She's allowed to keep doing her podcast, and she's wealthy because of it. So if we can't criminally prosecute a guy who said stuff like this, then I guess, guys, order your 25-year beans now.
Yeah.
Well, take it further. You know, was it Jay Jones that wrote the text?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he's running for office. And his is I want to murder Republicans and babies and their
If this guy wins...
Well, the whole party wants to murder babies, right? But like him in
Yeah.
particular, he wanted to kill kids.
But and he's running for office.
Yeah, and he only lost like 3 points when that got exposed. Now, Yara's, I believe, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, is expected to win in the prediction markets. We don't know for sure. But we're 5 minutes from Virginia. We're in it's technically the tri-state, but Pennsylvania is a half an hour drive, so you can get anywhere pretty quickly. You drive down any one of these roads into Virginia, and you will see signs for Jay Jones on all the houses.
Yeah,
they don't care. And I want to make sure this is clear with a story like this. My wife was asking me about the Trump 34 felony conviction because we did this debate last Friday with Brian Shapiro, and it's gone massively viral. I had no idea it would, but I'm getting hit up by tons of people being like, "Oh, you roasted that guy." But I'm like, "Oh, whatever." I'm sure he's got clips of me, and the left is sharing those as well. So my wife asks me, "Well, what's Trump accused of doing?" And I said, "Falsification of business records in furtherance of a crime." And she said, "Did Trump commit any crime?" No, he did not. Because the accusation in that case is that Michael Cohen, Trump's lawyer, believed a insinuation from Trump's CFO was the order to pay Stormy Daniels. Did Trump ever tell you to do it? No, he did not. Did Trump ever tell you to conceal anything? No, he didn't. But I knew he wanted to. Trump's guilty. That's what they did. On top of that, it's the first time in history, and we clarified this yesterday. Fact check. I was mistaken. It is not the first time they've used that law, 175, what is it, 175.0, I think it is, 1750.10. I thought it was the first time they ever used it without an underlying charge. That is incorrect. It's the first time they've ever done it without a clearly spelled out crime in the indictment. Meaning, in every instance, New York has charged someone with falsification of business records and furtherance of a crime. They required unanimity among the jurors as to the crime intended to be committed, spelled out in the indictment, meaning proven beyond a reasonable doubt. With Trump, they said,
Pick it later.
Yeah, pick it later and you figure it out, which has never been done before.
That's exactly what they did.
So she asked me, has Trump, she said, okay, hold on. I understand that, but what did Trump do? Like, he didn't do anything, even according to the charge. And then she asked, then how did he get convicted? Because New York is D plus 30. That means any jury will convict any Trump supporter or conservative. We saw this with J6ers when judges wouldn't let them bring in video evidence that was exculpatory. The judge was like, no, that can't come in. Like, but this proves I'm innocent. And the judge is like, don't care.
That's not a jury of your peers.
It's certainly not. And now that we have two different countries occupying the same territory, this man who clearly called for the murder of Trump, they let him go.
Yep.
In Virginia, unsurprising.
Well, and so I know you were talking about Jay Jones and how he isn't expected to win the race anymore, but the fact that that's even a question at all.
The fact that he's running.
Yeah, the fact that he's still running, that his party didn't go, you know what, let's find someone who isn't talking about killing children in their
Isn't
DMs
anybody.
is like probably an indication that either they know the voters don't care or they can't find anyone. Like, they can't find anyone who doesn't want children dead.
So this is actually pretty amazing. Wow. So Call She has the prediction market. Will Jay Jones drop out of the Virginia Attorney General race? No, he won't. At this point, it's a 1%. And if we actually look at the Attorney General race, he's still got a 33% chance in the prediction market. That is insane to me, that a man could say that his rival's children should be murdered, and if he had the choice, he would shoot his Republican rival twice in the head. That's what he said in these texts.
Yep.
And they're like, give him it's 2-1 that he loses. So
It's not that
33. But I will say this first.
Well, and didn't he call too? Didn't he make a phone call too after?
But we didn't see. We don't know what was in the phone call. We just know that there were texts after the fact. So so I do need to say this. I'm legally required to say shout out to Call She for sponsoring the show, and I really do appreciate it. I also would like to point out just before you jump in, Seamus, should Jay Jones win, the point I was making about Trump and his convictions and this guy being let go, I don't know that I can drive through Virginia. I'll get pulled over by some commie cop, and he's going to be like, you got improper turn signals there, buddy. And then I'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about because I did it right. And he's like, well, let's take I smell drugs out of the vehicle. Then he's going to say, look what I found. And it's going to be even. Every jury in Virginia that they're going to put together is going to be like, he's a Trump supporter, lock him up.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
If Jay Jones wins, it's bad enough in Virginia they acquitted a guy who literally was calling for the assassination of Trump and saying he wanted to do it, and they let him go. If this AG gets in, we're headed down a very, very obvious and dark path.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think that again, like I said, the fact that they didn't replace him, they didn't pull him out of the race, he didn't step down, this wasn't that much of a scandal for them, and then they tried to like wave a group chat in our face a couple days later as if that was equally bad and would distract us from this. It was so transparent, it was so obvious, and it was so indicative of the major flaw with the Democratic Party, which is that, and I mean this truly, sincerely, it's not hyperbole, they literally hate innocent life. This is why abortion is the cornerstone of their entire platform. They hate innocence in general. That's why they always want to push grooming. They want these drag queens to be reading in front of children. They always push as much degeneracy as they possibly can because they hate being reminded that there's more to the world than their own hideousness. And so when someone like Jay Jones says, I hope their children die, he really means that.
I wonder
he really means that. And I got to say this too. We've all gotten angry over politics, right? But I have never at any point been so angry about politics that I wanted someone else's kid to die, because that doesn't come from a place of anger. It comes from a place of sickness.
It doesn't. Agreed. Wanting someone else's child to be murdered doesn't solve any of your problems. So why would anyone want that to happen? If I had a problem with Seamus, like, let's say, for instance, he stole a very rare spoon of mine that was once belonged to a grandmother, and I was mad at him, and he denied it. And I said, I'm so mad at you, Seamus. You have wronged me. Why would I hope for his children? That's not going to bring my spoon back.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, nothing apparently will bring my spoon back.
Because there's something about
It's a
him
form of
internally.
tribalness. It's a form of tribalness to carry it from generation to generation, which is a big problem that we are, suffering here in our country.
Well, Seamus, since you brought up the YR's group chat scandal that broke and got way more attention for whatever reason, it also points out a fatal flaw in the Republican Party because they caved immediately. All of these guys got fired and condemned publicly.
Were they all fired?
And we've
This is
learned
why I don't like
nothing.
Republicans.
I think that pretty much all of those men got fired. Yes.
I'm going to make a new party, and it's going to be called
The Schmeep Republicans.
Republicans. No, I was going to say it's the bad boys and what is it? The bad dude.
The bad dude who runs a bunch of bad boys.
That's what I was going to say. The bad dude who runs a bunch of bad boys.
And you know that I don't know if it was ever proven that Gavin Wax was the one responsible for leaking it, but he didn't face any consequences.
Well, we don't know who did what, but all I know is they're all a bunch of whiny babies, and the Republican Party is just so weak.
Cooked.
Yeah,
the opposition.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. The one thing I truly respect the Democrats for is how unscrupulous they are in the face of it's amazing because I look at some of these podcasts, like that woman Jennifer Welch or whatever her name is, where she's like, get on board with killing conservatives, and I'm like, man, she's chiseled and just beaten herself so mercilessly that all that is left of her heart is a withered husk of scar tissue. It takes a lot of work to get there. I am impressed with how people like Adam Schiff can just like crazy eye you at the camera and lie, and they feel nothing. That takes a tremendous guts.
He's an
to be as
odd
evil
man.
as they are.
We don't need to be evil to win. We just need to take our own side.
Yeah, no, it's true.
We
It's
don't
true.
have to be like them.
Just enforce the laws we already have.
Enforce the law. Take your own side. Don't cancel your
Well,
own
look,
people
we tried.
over nothing.
We tried. He got let go. Mm-hmm. So that's my point. The conversation we had with Aaron McIntyre last week is the sovereign is he who makes the exemptions. And
Is the case over, or are they going to take it up?
no, that's it. He's acquitted.
They won't
that's
go.
it. You
Yeah.
can't double jeopardy. You can't bring it back.
I didn't know if it was going to go to a higher court or.
Hey, that's that. You can't. That I believe that would be double jeopardy. He's been found not guilty. They can't bring it back. So I hope you guys have prepared for the worst while you hope for the best, because I've been saying that these people should get arrested, and silly me, they did arrest a guy, they did charge him, and a jury let him go. Mm-hmm. So I'll say it again, and shout out to Will Chamberlain, because this is his argument. A society that tolerates the veneration of assassins and celebrates assassinations is a society that has opened the door to civil war. And that's why he was saying these people should be banned from social media. And I said, you know what? I didn't agree at first. Now I completely agree. The people that are online celebrating assassinations and calling for more should be insta-banned. They're not going to be.
More than banned.
So I can tell you this. I really do feel like the prediction of what's to come is obvious. And I hope I'm completely wrong. Unfortunately for me, I kind of remember all the shows I've done over the past several years where I've warned the escalation was coming, and it did. And so I can only assume at this point I'm probably right. So I'll be digging a hole starting tomorrow. Seamus, if you want to help out.
Yeah, why not?
Guys love digging holes, but we're going to dig it real deep. Then we're going to build a 30-foot deep underground bunker.
We can't tell them about this. They can't know.
They won't know where it
They
is.
don't know about this.
How are they going to find it?
Stop talking about it.
We gotta all
Use
right,
the
we'll
really
find
soft,
a good spot.
terrible voice and don't talk about it.
Where are we going to build it? Just whisper, and we're going to build it in Harper's Ferry. Okay, perfect. Just right in the.
Are we able to dig there? We have to call if there's cable lines or something. I don't want to cut through anything.
No, we need the cable lines.
You got to get a dig.
How are we going to play PlayStation?
I'm saying we don't want to cut them when we dig on accident.
Nah, you just
damage them.
What you do is you cut your finger open, and you put a small neodymium magnet in it and stitch it up, and that allows you to feel where the electrical lines are.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, old wives' trick, old wives' tale.
This is actually true. I'm not making this up.
Why can't we see this as the beginning of trying to use the law to incarcerate and punish people who do say things online? Maybe this is the beginning of it. I know it didn't work. But
I don't think it matters because
we gotta respect free speech, though. I mean, where do you start, right? You want to start somewhere.
Well, I think
And-
explicit
and
calls to violence.
the issue is several years ago I was involved in a copyright issue around music, And I called, I was speaking with two different lawyers, and they basically said, okay, you probably have a case. Let's, venue is important. If you try this case or file this case in a Democrat jurisdiction, you'll lose in 2 seconds. And I said, what does this have to do? Well, you're a Trump supporter. You will bring it before a judge. They're going to say, Trump supporter, throw it out. Side with the corporation in 2 seconds. So they said we should file this in a heavy Trump district where they're going to side with you for being a Trump supporter. And I was like, but this is about music. And they were like, and? This is not the way the courts work right now. And venue selection has become one of the most important things. This guy was found not guilty because he's charged in Virginia, tried by a jury of his peers who thought that what he did was just. So when you have Democrats in New York say it doesn't matter if you can prove Trump did something wrong, Trump is so evil he must be stopped, this is heading in one direction.
That's right.
So, and I'll stress this too, for all these conservatives that think there's a big conspiracy in the elections with cheating, the one thing they really need to consider is that you do not need a conspiracy for a cult. This is called a standalone complex. One of the theories about 2020 was that all of these Democrats working in polling locations or doing signature verification did not need to be told what to do. They hated Trump so much that they would be like, a Trump vote? I can't read that signature garbage. A Biden vote? Close enough. Throw it in. If you do that 10,000 times across the country, Trump can't win. So for all the, I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying you can't control for these things. If we do start going after people for this, let's take a look at Kat Abu Ghazala. She's literally on video putting her hands, it appears, well, she's blocking the police vehicle. I don't know if her hands are literally on it, but her body is up against it. And that's what she's charged with, obstruction. If they bring in an Illinois jury, she will be acquitted, and then the jury will offer her government money. They're going to be like, what more can we do for you, criminal? Because we don't care. You're opposed to Trump. Nothing you do is illegal.
I don't disagree with you. What I'm saying is that you have to start somewhere because, just banning people arbitrarily off the internet could also get really wily.
Arbitrarily?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would be arbitrary because there's not a court case, right? You're just saying, I don't like that. And if the law.
But banning is not a criminal action. So you don't need a court case to ban someone.
Right. So then it would be arbitrary because there wouldn't be a hearing. It would just be.
That's not arbitrary.
Well, sure it would be if it's just left up to who is it left up to?
The company that runs X or YouTube.
Right. So
they
I agree with you in that I wouldn't say those things.
Glorification of murder is a bannable offense on YouTube, and YouTube's not banning this woman who said to kill Charlie.
And it should be banned.
So she should get banned for it.
But people write things, and they are not banned, and they're not, and nothing happens.
And they should be.
Like Jay Jones. So my point is
well, he texted someone his personal opinion. That's allowed, but he should not be in a political race.
In any case, though, they went to court. Now they lost, and I get it, but they did go to court, and I think it's really important to say that they went to court. They lost, and they lost.
This is a crime.
It is a crime, and they lost because of the judges. I agree with you.
No,
as long as or the jury and the judge. Was it a jury trial?
It was a jury trial, and they deliberated for 2 hours and then acquitted him.
Well, in Virginia, they probably would have lost with the judge too. I mean, the judges are also bad. I mean, the point is though that they did prosecute him, and I think it's really important that they do prosecute crimes when they happen, regardless of what the outcome might be. We can't stop prosecuting because there's no way to win.
Of course.
That's my point.
We should go after more people. My point is that we're going to see more acquittals, and we are actually, I wouldn't be surprised if overt acts of terror end up getting acquitted. That you'll get some Antifa guy. I mean, look at Portland arresting conservatives. The only reason Portland actually shut down the Antifa protests was because Trump won in the Ninth Circuit and was going to send in the National Guard. And they don't want the National Guard to come in because then that gives Trump more control and authority in any capacity in the city. So they said, take out Antifa, and then we can argue to the courts he can't send the National Guard in now because there's no longer a criminal presence.
A lot of people really liked the National Guard when it was in L.A., by the way.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think
great. Yeah.
I think the issue is
really helpful.
What were people? Yeah, I'm curious what people on the ground were actually saying, because obviously all the press was going to show us is that everyone thought it was fascism and Trump is bad because he's orange. And
well, what had happened after the fires burned is the National Guard came with FEMA, and so we had a lot of National Guard right after the fires. And they were parked everywhere, and they protected everything, and they were very nice to people. And because it was the fires, everybody loved having them there. And then when they left, there was so much looting and so many problems that everybody that was, experienced having them there was like, can we get them back? So when the National Guard came for the rioting, it was like, bring them, because obviously, the people downtown that, were looting and rioting didn't want them there. But I can tell you right now, most people in Los Angeles were really, really relieved they were there.
I just don't understand how people living in LA have not been radicalized by their experiences and still vote for this.
That's
Live
a
in
really good
hell.
question. I'm working on a documentary. It's called Mayors Matter, and I'm visiting all 52 mayors in the state that have a fairly decent mayoral position. And so far, I've interviewed several. And the majority of the mayors that I've interviewed, surprisingly, both Democrat and Republican, number one priority on their list is safety in their streets, police and safety. So things are quite different when you really break it down and you talk to mayors of smaller cities. They also don't want to, house homeless people. They're like, look, we shouldn't have this problem, and they shouldn't be dropping them off in our city. We do, and we can only have so many beds, and those beds are transitional. They can't be just living here. We're not just going to create housing for them. So it's very interesting how things really are when you start talking to the mayors of the cities.
The homeless don't even want housing. That's the dumbest thing that people say about homelessness, is that they're in need of or desire housing.
Well, also, we have anti-camping rules that, they kind of lifted during COVID because of the desperation to find places for people outside. But once you put the anti-camping rules back in place, people can't loiter anymore. So they move to places that they can, like a campsite, and then it's every 3 days they got to move or something like that. Point being, there's a way around it that you can do it legally. And if you talk to the mayors from all the cities, they don't have the same feeling that you see on the news where they just don't want anybody there. They don't want chaos. None of us want it. I don't want it. And I live in the Palisades, So.
Yeah, that should, in theory, transcend politics if politics were just a matter of human affairs. But I think it is very sad that we're at the point where I think, in the past, people maybe had loftier ambitions for government about the problems it could solve. And now we're like, please, just can I just leave my bike somewhere locked and come back and it's still there, right? Can I please not have my window smashed in? Can I please not have stuff broken? Can I not have my store broken into and have stuff stolen? Rule of law has been completely disrespected and disregarded, and it's become a topic of political debate, even though, as you said, all the mayors will actually say when it comes down to it, yes, this is the most important thing to me, we have to make sure we have this. When it comes to their political rhetoric, it unfortunately isn't the case.
I think that there might be some like that, but I think the majority of the mayors, both Democrat and Republican, want safe communities for the kids, and they'll do anything to get it. They'll work really hard at it. We spend just on the executive branch of government $40 billion a year on 275,000 people working for the state. Just think about that.
Yeah.
We've only got 17.5 million people paying taxes. And that doesn't include all the people in all those cities. That's another 250,000 people. Mm-hmm. So, you have 500,000 people working in a state with 17.5 million people paying taxes. It's just not sustainable. So if you sit and talk to people and you really, say, look, what's really important to you, without all the rhetoric, without all of the, Trump this and Gavin and their big fight, because Gavin Newsom has ruined any chance of a relationship with the Trump administration. He's completely torpedoed
100%.
it.
There's zero chance.
So California's not in the conversation, and the people that are good in California that really want to see, things better in California, like me, coming out and talking to EPA and saying, hey, will you help us clean up California? Because the EPA can step over, any California legislation. They can step right in. So for me, I'm just going to, do my best to circumvent the Newsom administration and ask for help because we need it.
I want to pull up a video for Mary, because you asked why people would keep voting for this kind of stuff. This is from Zach Sage last month, and it's an amazing video which basically explains why these people keep voting the way they do. Let's roll tape.
Can I get your signature for support? Sure. Okay, wait, I'm required by law. I just have to read you 3 of these policies. You're cool to elect a mayor who won't condemn Sharia law.
Yep. I'm asking you. I'm running.
Okay, cool.
I don't know about that. But,
Oh, you don't?
well, what is this?
It's just a lot of his policy positions and stuff. You have to recognize the DSA's Bill of Rights socialism, so we'd replace the Bill of Rights with... You can read all this. This is out there. You still want to do it or no? Oh, he's going to tax white people higher? It's on his website first.
I just don't think that this is exactly his policies.
You can look all of it up. No, this is literally the first thing on his website. It's about taxing whiter neighborhoods.
It doesn't say whiter.
No, it literally says
It really
whiter.
does.
Oh my God.
It does.
I don't know what's going on.
Wait, so you voted for him in the primary, but you didn't
It's
know
a
about
cult.
that?
These people should not be allowed to vote. I'm sorry.
No, it doesn't didn't literally say whiter neighborhoods.
This is why they keep voting for it, because they are cognitively impaired and arrogant. We need to stop teaching people that they're beautiful little snowflakes that are the main characters of their own story.
What about me?
And we should tell, especially Seamus.
What?
And we should stop telling people that they need to be in charge of everything. It is okay to not be the boss. You can be like, hey man, look, I understand I'm not an expert on this policy stuff, so I defer to you. People like this is what you get in these urban environments where they're like, no, you must be wrong.
Well, it's women. I mean, if
You're saying repeal the 19th?
If we're being honest, look, we're never going to repeal the 19th. I mean, I hope that this debate goes poorly, but we're never going to repeal the 19th. It's not worth talking about.
I don't think
it's women who are voting for this stuff.
Yes, but the issue I see is that you've got greater male variability hypothesis, and so it's how did let me put it like this: how is it possible for women to vote for these things?
Well, they're not responsible for the outcome.
No, but how is it possible for them to literally walk into a polling station and vote for it?
Men protecting them.
What do you mean?
I mean, of course, they're able to vote because men protect their rights.
Because men decided women should vote.
Yeah.
So it's like humans. It's just what humans do. At some point, guys were like, women vote. And now women are voting, and you're like, women shouldn't vote. But it's guys who let them do it. So it's a circular problem. Like, there are stupid men and there are stupid women. And the issue largely, I think, is, let me ask everybody watching at home this question. Did you know that not a single woman has ever won the Chess Open World Championship? So the question is,
because they're dumb.
Why?
I'm just kidding.
Why is there an open division and a women's division?
Oh, women aren't as good at chess.
I think the answer is very simply because there can only be one world champion. But then there is greater male variability hypothesis, meaning there's going to be way more stupid guys, but way more smart guys. And if you've got one slot and 900 men and 20 women, it's going to be a guy.
Yeah, Seamus, you mentioned, I think on PCC, this like idea that, women are cooks and men are chefs.
No, I didn't. You mentioned that.
So it was something that came up in our conversation.
It was something about like men become obsessive about the thing they're interested in.
When it comes to literally any field, any skill, any hobby, the people who are psychotically good at something are men.
Because they obsess. It's true. Men will like obsess over a thing
even
and get really good at it.
This recent TwitchCon, this like Twitch event, they did a bunch of video game tournaments, and I guess there was a women's division, and a dude who thinks he's a woman won.
Oh no.
And it's because, well, first of all, it's because women accept this shit. I mean, they just put a bunch of trans identifying males on the cover of Glamour for Women of the Year.
No, what?
Because women accept this shit. But secondly, it's because men are going to exceed the abilities of women at things
Rachel
like video
Zegler's
games
a guy?
and things like chess. Well, Rachel Zegler was one of the winners, but in the UK, it was the Glamour UK cover. J.K. Rowling actually posted about it.
I was surprised.
She said, like, when I was younger, women's magazines told us to be prettier and thinner, and now they're telling us that men are better women than we are. And it's true. And this happens because women are on the editorial teams that make these decisions, and women are the ones buying it off the shelves.
But are you saying women should also not be in the workforce?
Well, this weird thing will also happen with these publications where, in the same way that the people who've controlled our media have told us bad stories to reshape our minds, they've tried to groom women through putting things in women's literature that, like, historically women haven't sought out.
This is the history of Cosmopolitan.
Yeah, where they'll put things in it to get women to behave in ways that are not, like, historically typical.
So in Cosmo, they published guest essays under pen names that were completely fictional about casual hookups in order to glamorize the lifestyle of the Cosmo girl, but it was completely made up. And you're absolutely right. Like, women's minds have been hijacked by this stuff.
Yeah. And so I know people say, like, oh, women are buying these magazines. It's like, yes, but what you got to remember is just because there's a demand for something doesn't mean the demand's going to be filled. And this is the case for men's entertainment and women's entertainment, where, like, what is being sold is not necessarily what's demanded. It's the demand that the establishment's willing to fulfill. It's the demand that the people who are creating it are willing to fulfill, and those people have an agenda.
Democracy is a mistake.
That's what I was
Well,
saying.
I'm on board with that. Yeah.
The founding fathers didn't like democracy either.
They
That's
wanted
why
a
we don't
republic.
have one.
They wanted a republic.
Universal suffrage was not part of the authorship of the founding fathers.
Yeah, seriously. So I think we need a system of governance. How do we have like a meritocratic political system? The challenge is this. You want the best at the job to do the job. But politics is the one place where it's not possible.
Yeah.
You can have somebody like, okay, whoever can run faster and climb higher is going to be the firefighter, I guess. You're strong enough to do it. You can have jobs like race car driver. It's like, well, certainly you're winning and you're not.
They're like cartoonists.
I know.
Go to twistedplots.com. Support it.
Right. But how do you do that for politics? How do you figure out if someone actually is good at running systems? And then here's the other problem. Let's say they are, and they go, we have to cut SNAP benefits for 37 million people, but they'll revolt. But we have to. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm the expert. We have to do it. They're going to be like, okay, they'll chop your head off.
Well, this is exactly why I say almost every night that I'm on the show that we need to hold to the principle of subsidiarity and keep things operating at the most local possible level. Because
Monarchy,
when things are
basically,
federalized, subsidiarity and monarchy aren't the same thing, but you can have a monarchist system that follows subsidiarity. The point, though, is that things that have to be handled at the most local possible level should be handled at the most local possible level. And when you don't do that, you end up with a bloated federal government. And as you mentioned, Tim, it's hard to find people who are competent enough to do these jobs. If someone is competent enough to do all of the things that someone in a role in the federal government should theoretically be able to do, like, they're not going to work for the federal government. They're going to make a lot of money in the private sector. When things are done at the local level, less bandwidth is required from the person in the position, and B, hyper competent people are more willing to give back to their community and the people around them.
Right. I agree, but
you can't select for it at a federal level.
But you can't also run this government without federal level politicians, and it's always going to devolve the way it is.
Yep.
So look, I mentioned this. I did an interview with Senator Rand Paul, and I said to him that there's not going to be any member of Congress, maybe just he and Thomas Massey, who will campaign on, I will cut your benefits. No one will do it. Republicans say, we'll keep your benefits the way they are. We won't touch them. And Democrats say, we'll double them. And that's the only direction you can move. Otherwise, no one will vote for you. And that's what's going to happen until the system explodes. And because this woman is as dumb as a box of rocks, and I feel bad saying that because I'm not trying to insult rocks.
Well, wait a sec. Okay, wait a sec. You can say a lot of stuff. First of all, a lot of stuff. Being a woman voter. A lot of women vote, and they vote correctly. They just don't tell their husbands, because I know I have a lot of friends. But also, I want to talk to you about running up and running down. What happens in California and a lot of other places, especially big city and big Democratic, is you run up the ticket or down the ticket, depending on what the DNC wants you to do or the RNC wants you to do, or in our case, Act Blue. If you run on a ticket, you can pick the ticket. And that's probably what's going to happen in California for the governor's race. And it's also a jungle primary. So this governor's race could change very drastically in the coming months. Most importantly is you're absolutely right about keeping it tribal in the cities. There's a reason for that. But the biggest problem that we have in California, how goes California goes the rest of the country. The biggest problem that we have in California is we have no economic development. We do not grow our business at all. We have run 6 million people have left. Every single one of them pays taxes.
Yep.
Nobody stayed there that doesn't pay taxes. Without economic development, the only option for a state is to raise taxes. You can't cut benefits because you got to get rid of the people that need those benefits. It's a different problem altogether. You've got to have economic development. And if we don't have it, which we haven't had in California for 3 decades, one of the most interesting things about Mayors Matter is that I have asked if the lieutenant governor of our state has visited any of the mayors that I've interviewed so far, and the answer is no. All of them, no. They don't. 14 didn't know who she was. So at the end of the day, if you don't have economic development in your state, you cannot grow your base. You can only survive by charging higher taxes. And that's what's happening in California.
Yeah.
You have to keep it local. And then you've got to stop the Sacramento, in our case, from reaching down to small communities like Cerritos or wherever and saying, hey, we need you to put more housing in. In California, every bill is named in a way that makes it enticing to people that want something for nothing, like the mansion tax. Mansion tax isn't mansion tax. It's transfer tax. It's a levy. It's an illegal levy on all classes of real estate. It killed the real estate market $1 trillion in Los Angeles. And we are all suffering from that. And Gavin Newsom is leaving, and he's going to leave our state $500 billion, $500 billion in the hole.
Well, and this is the crazy thing. So if one particular individual has $1 billion or their net worth is $1 billion, people on the left go, no one should have that much money. But then when you have these stupid policies that literally just erase $1 billion from the economy, oh, that's no big deal. Who cares? It's like, whoa. Where's all of our concern about all of the things that could have been done for vulnerable people with that $1 billion? That just vanished once the government wasted it instead of one guy having it. But I want to ask you something, because you mentioned that you worked in real estate development, and my intuition, based on everything I've understood from the news cycles and what I know about California, is that that's an absolute nightmare out there. How do you navigate that, and what do you think could be done to fix that?
Well, when I saw what happened in Hawaii, I thought I'd never seen anything like it, and it's exactly what's happening to us. It's a land grab. Everybody that's in real estate in a big way, including, developers, I don't even want to name names, are buying up distressed, burnt real estate because it's 11 months into it, a couple days, and
We wouldn't mind if you named some names. We can't stop you.
You're going to hear about them really soon. They've passed this thing called SB 79, which is a high density bill, and a high density bill is the equivalent of if I built a 7-story building right next to your house out there, how would you like that? If I just came in, rolled up, and said, "Hey, I'm going to put a 7-story apartment building right here," they changed the actual zoning.
I would
Let's say do it, fill it with Section 8. I'd love that.
I would like it because it would increase my property value.
You think it would? Okay, so that's a good question. So
Depends on the area. But
part of the problem is, like, in New York, I think part of the biggest, some people are going to argue with me, but New York was built on the stock exchange. That's what created New York. New York was the stock exchange, and $4.7 trillion spinning around the earth. Okay, but since COVID, we got $7.8 trillion spinning around outside of the earth that none of us ever touch. Okay, and that's where Wall Street lives. It doesn't live in New York anymore. You don't have to show up every day on the floor. You don't have to pull tickets and get on the phone and call everybody. So if the new mayor decides that he wants to give away New York, the majority of the real money in New York they're just visiting New York. Business doesn't happen in New York anymore. It's not the same thing. In California, our Wall Street is our Gold Coast. It's real estate. So it's here. It's not here. So we have to protect it, or we're just going to lose it to the masses, which I don't see happening.
A lot of the real estate burned down, and they're not going to let it be brought back.
That's correct. They're going to turn it into high-density housing.
Yep.
Well, yeah, so I want to ask you about that. I mean, what do you think anything can be done to prevent this? And if you could recommend one policy for California, as someone who actually works in this field, everyone says trust the experts. I think the experts are the people who are actually able to make a living in the field. So as someone who is an expert in the sense that how the market functions well enough to operate in it, if there was one thing that the state of California could do differently to get more houses built, what would that be?
Oh, to get more houses built?
Yeah, to get more houses built.
I was going to say, though, if I could have one policy, it would be voter ID.
Oh, amen.
Okay,
well,
right.
amen, of course. That's a given.
All right. And debris on rail. We wouldn't drive everything on trucks. And we wouldn't change zoning. Okay. Number one thing you cannot do is, it's called ripping the rug. You make an investment in something, and then I come along and I change the zoning.
Yeah.
And if you're changing the zoning, then people aren't going to invest. And when you rip the rug, people won't invest. And that's by definition what's wrong with California. We change the rules after you've already made your decision. So we need workforce housing, and nobody wants to call it workforce housing because they don't like the name of it. So why don't we call it, employee accommodations? I don't care what we call it, but if you move a company in there, you've got to give them a place to live. We tried to build a railroad, our high-speed rail.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was a disaster.
Okay, well, would it surprise you to know that probably 25% of the money that was used for high-speed rail went into the brick and mortar structure? The rest of it went to all the people fighting the rail. So you can't, it's bureaucracy cannot build. Mm-hmm. And if you have a government the size of ours, with that kind of spending, you've already taken the taxpayers. They're paying $6,000-$7,000 a year just to pay salaries for government. Before you do anything else. That's why we don't have enough police. That's why we don't have enough fire. So in real estate, we cannot rip the rug. We cannot rezone things. And also, we have property tax. Property tax is for police and fire. What does it say on your property tax bill here?
It says we are stealing from you.
Okay, so property tax bill.
You got to say no, like you did in Chicago, Tim.
It says right on it. Read it. It says what it's for.
You can't scare me.
It's probably not that terrible here, is it? The property tax.
Property tax.
Is it terrible?
Taxes in West Virginia are really, really bad. Because this was a Democrat state for a long time.
Yeah.
And it only recently turned Republican. It has some of the worst tax law in the country.
Well, I'm curious because also I know there was some proposition voted on in the 90s last time I was in California, I was actually surprised by, I know the property taxes there seem high, but they're actually low compared to other blue states.
Well, that's because we have this thing called Prop 13, which is this.
That's right.
1%.
Yeah.
Right, and it's like protected by this group. They're called the Howard Jarvis group. They covet and protect it, and they're the gatekeepers, I should say. And they've literally fought everything off since 1979. And this mansion tax thing snuck in there. And the mansion tax, like if you have a lot in the Pacific Palisades worth $5 million, you are paying mansion tax on that burned out ash pile.
That's crazy.
It's insane.
That's so heinous.
And also, it affected the real estate market so badly in LA that nobody wants to trade, so the real estate just stopped trading. And that's the same as Wall Street stopping trading.
Yeah.
So the whole thing's affected. And if I were the governor of the state, I would never rezone with people that have invested. It's just not cool. And we do have a housing problem, but what we really have is a homeless problem because we don't have anywhere to put them. And we're too soft on the problem. Like you have to separate people. You have to say, hi, what's your come up to the table. Are you a drug addict? Are you forever homeless? Are you just having a tough time?
Do you think that they let the wildfires happen on purpose?
Well, I definitely think that they that's a good question, and part of me does.
So let me preface that with a couple things. First, there was the claim that they didn't send enough firefighters out in time. There's another claim that firefighters initially, when the fire was put out because it reignited, knew that there was still some embers, and they were instructed to leave and did. I don't know if that's true or not, but those are the rumors I see online.
Okay, so what happened is we've got a pretty big environmental control that was in place about 3 decades ago that says we have to protect brush thistle, which is this weird brush that grows underneath all of the forestry. We also have urban forestry. We have the Santa Monica Conservatory. We have all these groups that manage open space. None of them have any money, so they never clean it. So everywhere around is basically like a tinderbox, right? So a fire starts and it's just impossible. On top of it, we have not maintained our water, and our water structures and our water pumping and all of our reservoirs are all dilapidated. One was closed. The one that we use for the Palisades was closed. This is, again, a problem with just maintaining infrastructure. Again, property tax is for infrastructure, police and fire, and schools. That's what it's for, okay? All of it is a shit show. Can I say that on air?
Yes.
Sorry.
Well, we've already sworn quite a bit, but
It was climate change
Beep.
because the fires.
I just said beep.
climate change is gone now.
So now they have. Well, we definitely heated it up there. So now we have the same problem. Where basically they haven't, they're not doing any brush clearance and they're not fixing the water problems. But more importantly, is they found this guy that lit a fire in the Lockman fire. This little fire. It was like 10 acres or something, and they put it out. They called and put it out about 10 days before the real fires, or 7 days before the real fires. They put it out, and the guy went to Florida or left. Now the big thing is, did the city cause it? Did the state cause it? And I don't want to name names and say who did it because I'm not sure. But at the end of the day, what it looks like to me is that if they have an arsonist in the middle of this thing, whether he did or didn't, it removes liability from the state and city. And to me, that's this kid's going to get hung up. I'm sure he lit the fire. I'm sure it was terrible, but they didn't knock it down all the way or it relit.
I think this guy flicked a cigarette or something, and then he searched on his phone. Can I get in trouble for an accidental fire or something?
Yeah.
The implication being he was smoking out at the brush.
And nobody's up there going, oh, yeah, this guy caused these fires. What caused these fires is we didn't have any water. We didn't have, the fire department is paper thin. There's just not enough people. They've made so many cuts. Half the equipment doesn't work. And then you have this massive, crazy brush thing.
I think society's just crumbling.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it lightly. I mean, everywhere I look, society is fractured in some ways. I think this largely has to do with no new young people. We are in it. Every year, we had a consistently large number of 16-year-olds to enter the low-skilled workforce, 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds, except this time. So Democrats try flooding the country with illegal immigrants, thinking this might solve the problem. Of course, it will not, because all you're doing is bringing in Honduran farmers to try and replace what should have been assistant managers at in an office or something. It's not going to work. And so now we have all these stories. The latest one of the semi-truck with the naked Chinese guy in it who can't speak English and doesn't know what street signs are, because they're like, we need people. We'll take whatever. It doesn't work that way. And so I think it's crumbling. So there's no firefighters. Yep, no firefighters. We can't even open restaurants out here because they couldn't find staff to work in the kitchens. It's crazy.
I think there's also this really big disconnect with what's happening in the tech industry. I mean, Amazon just laid off, 14,000 people?
30.
Is it? Did they raise it? Yesterday it was 14.
The initial report was that they were going to cut 30,000 jobs.
So yesterday it was 14,000, I think. I mean, that's tremendous. You know, Walmart is the largest.
14,000 was confirmed yesterday.
Yeah.
Up to 30,000 potentially.
So all those people, like, you
And
know,
half
with their
a
little
million-
STEM degrees and all that stuff, what are they going to do? There's no shop in schools. We need to bring back shop in high schools. I mean, how do you not have shop? How do you not teach people a basic skill set?
Oh, we got to abolish high school.
Okay. Well, first of all, there's this whole thing going on. While I was here, by the way,
High school is the problem.
while I was in DC, I went to this really cool conference at Heritage, and they were talking about removing iPhones or telephones out of schools from K through 12 because of the decline in learning. And it's tremendous if you look at the math on it. And DeSantis in Florida has already started it. And I'm going to propose the initiative in California. I think it's a really great idea.
I think the school is the decline in learning. I think in government institutionalized learning facilities make communists.
That's probably true, especially in college.
It is. I've had
high
personal
school.
experience with some of this stuff. I tell a lot of stories, but I had one story where there's an individual I hired for a job with a master's degree, and they couldn't figure out how to solve simple problems on the back end of a website. Literally something you could just Google search. It was rudimentary. I don't want to get too personal, but they said, I need to be told what to do. And I said, that's not how this works. You are hired for the job, so you do it. If I was working on the back end of a website, I'd be the web dev.
Yeah.
But when you're hired for that job, you figure it out. They couldn't because they spent 24 years of their lives in an environment where they're told what to do every time, as opposed to solving the problem on their own. So I say, I have no problem with some kind of education system, but our current public government institutionalization just makes communists who are dependent on government and expect government to feed them. Yep. How does it work? Schools in our country, lunchtime, you go to the cafeteria, the government food is available. It's low quality, it's crap, but the government has it for you. Got a problem? Talk to the government. Then you get out, these young people, we all laughed. We were like, man, when these kids get out of college, they're in for a rude awakening. And what happened? They got out of college and they were in for a rude awakening, except we didn't realize they were violent and threatened these American society, saying, no, we don't care the way you think it should be. We're going to beat you until you give us what we want. So we started seeing college students scream at the professor, get their professors fired. Then they get out of college. Now they're in the workforce. They nuked Bud Light and Target. They are just destroying everything because these people, they're voting for Zoran Mamdani and Gavin Newsom because they're just saying the government should always tell us what to do because we raised them to think so.
Well, and this gets into this point about what they tell us, what stories they tell us. We all remember the narrative about the Great Depression we were given in school. Everything was horrible because the government wasn't doing enough. And then FDR stepped in and saved the day. It's like, well, actually, the United States had the slowest economic recovery of any developed nation on the entire planet. FDR confiscated everybody's gold. He put people in internment camps. He literally set prices based on what he thought were lucky numbers that came to him in dreams. He had more than 2 terms. Like, he was all of the things that they say that Trump is going to be. He was all of the things that they warn us about Trump being, and we were told he was a hero. We're told he's like the best president we ever had. Why? Because he radically expanded the size and scope of government. Yeah.
Did you like high school?
No, I didn't like school. Listen, I had some awesome teachers, but I just was not into school.
Yeah, I think schools
Tim,
are
did
designed.
you like high school?
I didn't go.
Did you drop out of high school?
I think I went for maybe I think it was 3 months, and then I stopped going and got homeschooled.
You're super smart, though. You have a high IQ.
I suppose. I think that probably comes from the fact that I was homeschooled before starting grade school. And I think the problem for me was, I call it a problem, but I was homeschooled before starting kindergarten. So I entered grade school 3 or 4 grades ahead of everybody. And it is annoying when your teachers are lying to you and you know they're lying to you, and they lie to everybody. And that's what our schools do. Yeah. So it's just all, I think, I'm not going to tell every single story about school I could, but I can tell one, which was a relatively formative moment for me, where I knew negatives before I even went to grade school, how to count negatives or whatever. And I was in, I think it was 8th grade, and I'm doodling, and the teacher had a stupid math problem. It was like 30 minus 50. And she's going to catch me, and she says, who can answer this question? And she yells at me. She goes, Mr. Poole. And then I look up, and I'm negative 20. And I go back to doodling little stick figures, and she goes, and what's the formula? And I was like, what formula? She's like, what's the formula for 30 minus 50? And I said, 5, 4, 3, 2. What are you talking about? There's some stupid circuitous method for flipping the minus sign and spinning it around. And I said, I was like, I don't understand. I gave you the right answer. And she was like, yes, but we're here to learn formula. And I said, but I don't need that if I can just do it in my head, which is like a fairly common thing that you hear all the time, a trope of the student being like, I know how to do the math. And then I said something to her like, I'm sorry if I'm smarter than you and don't have to do it the hard way. And so I got detention. And then I was like, school's fake. Because she wasn't trying to teach me. She wasn't trying to improve my math skills. She was just trying to waste my time. And so I'm over this. And then what happened was when I go to high school, I'm in a public high school, and I'm sitting in a literature class where the student is going, and the teacher goes, Amazon confirms, and I'm going like, why am I sitting here? What a waste of my and everyone else's time, because the classroom can only go as fast as the slowest student.
Yep.
So I got straight Fs, except for music class, and my parents freaked out and pulled me and my brother out, and then we got homeschooled instead. And that was when I was 14. And so instead of going to high school, I skateboarded, playing music, and programmed video games and made websites.
But you did a really good job learning.
I think anyone could.
So I have 3 kids, and I homeschooled one of them.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't do it.
That's
personally.
not easy.
I
but-
hired somebody to do it.
Yeah.
That's our plan
Still.
for
But
that-
he needed to be homeschooled. He didn't want to be. He didn't fit into the whole.
I don't think any kid.
Public school's a mess. It's a mess.
Their intent. Listen, the most formative, most important years of a human being's life are the ages 0 through 5, and our society says do nothing. Now, to be fair, there are a lot of kids programs, but what we're giving to our kids these days and in the past 20 years is psychobabble, garbled nonsense on YouTube that ranges from insane, deranged, sexualized Sonic the Hedgehog. Not a joke.
Yeah.
It's literally
There's
what they're
so
doing.
much creepy stuff.
Blood, guts, murder, eating feces, and they're giving it to babies. And the best case scenario is a video from Disney Junior, where it's like 4 hours. This is not a joke. I think it's like 4 hours straight of Mickey Mouse singing "Hot Dog." That will make your kid a retard, and I'm not exaggerating. And so for me, I was lucky in that I'm 2, and my mom's like, "Let's do math." Other kids are sitting in front of a screen where they're going, hot dog, hot dog, hot dog. Ow! It's not a joke. I am not making a joke.
No, dude, I know what you're talking about.
Hot dog.
I know exactly what you're talking
Well, I mean,
about.
it's just wild to me that there is even a debate about whether phones should be in classrooms.
Wait,
That's exactly
I'm
right.
sorry.
There was no
Mary,
question.
I'm sorry. I was wrong. It's not 4 hours. It's
14.
10 hours. Look at, I'm not joking. Disney Junior, 25 million subscribers, hot dog dance, 10-hour version. Parents are putting this in front of their babies and pressing play, and it is literally 10 hours of Mickey Mouse singing the same thing. Your kids are going to be retards, and they're going to have deranged worldviews about people. They're going to get surgical Mickey Mouse ears attached to their heads. This is not a joke.
And if
So you
tell
do agree
parents,
with me
like, this is
that
a
we
bad
need to get
idea,
these
they'll
out
be
of
like,
school.
All of this is listen. My daughter is now 8 months old, and I am my wife.
Congratulations, by the way.
I appreciate it. And my mother-in-law were playing children's music, which is the fine children's music of like the Wheels on the Bus. And I said no to this. Not that I have the unilateral authority, but I strongly expressed my disdain and changed the music. And I said, the issue is never before in the history of humanity did we have children's content until the last 60 or 70 years. Children used to learn by observing their parents. That was it. We didn't lie to them and create fake versions of reality, because babies need to see exactly what adult life is so they can absorb that and emulate it. So when you play music like Wheels on the Bus, which a lot of people are going to be like, Tim, you're a party pooper and let kids be kids. I don't care. You do whatever you want. My point is, my daughter, there's a really great song by the band Me Without You. The Fox, the Crow, and the Cookie is the song. And it's the parable of the Fox, the Crow, and the Cookie, literally in an indie rock song. And I'm like, that's my limit on children's music. An actual indie rock band with a song from the 2000s, but it's the real parable of the fox. You guys know the story of the Fox, the Crow, and the Cookie, right?
No.
The fox tries to steal the cookie, but he can't, and the crow snatches it. So the fox goes to the crow and says, "Mr. Crow, would you please share?" And the crow won't do it. So then he says, "Well, if you're not going to share it, please, would you sing for me? Because your voice is so beautiful, it would ease my pains and fears." And the crow, as arrogant as he is, says, "Well, of course I'll sing." And then the cookie falls down. The fox snatches it and runs off. It's a great parable, and it's a rock song. But I'm like, the songs we're going to play? We're going to play like classic rock songs. We're going to play classical music, classic rock songs, real music that adults listen to. Nothing explicit. That's, keep on later.
Course.
But I don't want hot dog, diggity dog
that's the
garbage.
problem with this Miss Rachel. She's talking to the kids
Yep.
like this. Hi,
She's a
babies.
demon.
Ooh. And then she has these really brightly colored animations on the screen trying to hyper-stimulate the child's mind. And they literally see colors in more saturated light than adults do and hear sounds a different way at that age. It's mesmerizing, and they're glued to the screen. This woman.
My daughter listens to Devil Went Down to Georgia and great songs like that.
Dude,
and,
did you see
Freebird?
Did you see the viral tweet about that? About Devil Goes Down to Georgia?
No, which one?
Someone was like, "It's such a uniquely American song because in any other culture it'd be about like hubris in challenging the devil to a fiddling contest, but of course in this song like he's actually better at it than the devil."
That is pretty great. I mean, the song's amazing. However, I like the other meme better. I don't know if you saw it, where it said, "When I was younger, I was scared because I genuinely thought the Devil's band sounded way better than." Yeah. What was it? It was his Band of Demons.
That's such a great band.
That's right.
That was a fun, really
Yeah.
great song. Yeah.
Yeah.
Solid one.
That was a real short period, though, of music. It didn't last a long time.
No, it didn't.
Well, to what you were saying earlier about the debate about like whether smartphones should be allowed in the classroom, it just shouldn't even be a debate. There should be a classroom. I was never allowed to have phones in the classroom. I went to incredibly strict schools, and it was not even like that wasn't even a conversation. You had to wear uniforms. You weren't allowed to express yourself. If you so much as whispered in class, it was like, you're out of here. And you either follow the rules or you're out. And we just learned that there is a hierarchy between us, the students, who are meant to be taught, and the teachers who are authority figures. And it just wasn't questioned.
I do want to stress, I don't know how my daughter will end up turning out because she only watches two types of programming: Married to Strangers, which is like 90 Day Fiance, and that's what women watch, because my wife watches that all the time, and then Fox News. So that's it. If she doesn't actually watch it, because we don't let her watch, but I'll be watching the news and she'll be in the room and that's what's on.
And she'll hear it.
Yeah, and then when I leave, my wife will put on Love is Blind or 90 Day Fiance or whatever.
So she might like have an accent like a news anchor or an influencer.
Well,
a Republican influencer.
I didn't want to say this to Jesse Waters, but when the 5 is on and Greg Gutfeld talks, she gets excited and looks at the screen, and then it switched to Jesse and she started crying. And then when Greg started talking, she stopped and perked up again.
When Greg Gutfeld is your Miss Rachel.
That's so funny, dude.
I mean, I definitely think that, I have a very strong opinion about, whether or not school's for everybody, and I don't think it is for everybody. But
Agreed.
Not a lot of people can have a situation where they have two people in a home and they can stay home and raise their kids at home. And public school serves, the greater good. It
Unacceptable.
really does, but it's terribly unacceptable. But it's not. But you have to have you have to have some version of it. And the math that I saw the other day in this symposium about what the iPhone and what phones have done, especially smartphones, to kids since 2012 in terms of their ability to learn, pay attention, stimulation, things like that. It's mind-boggling.
This is an unacceptable condition for our country.
It's insane.
That you have to have both parents working. And Zoran Mamdani says that he's going to give free childcare. Mm-hmm. And this is part of the communist plan.
Can you imagine who's going to be watching them?
The government. That's right. The point is, what he's really saying is give your children to the state. And they're clapping and cheering.
By the way, utopians have said this for all of history. You even go back to Plato's Republic. They always want to undermine the family. They want to take children away from parents as early as possible. This is part of the agenda.
By the way, I think kindergarten and preschool and all school is free childcare.
Yeah. I think especially those are with.
So we should make it as good as we can make it, and this is a start. And we should put shop back in school. I mean, I don't know why we don't put things in schools that the kids really want to learn or need to learn.
Well, I appreciate you mentioning, by the way, though, that you don't think school's for everyone. My dad's very, very brilliant. His brothers are also smart, but like my dad was book smart. He loved school. His brothers did not. They like basically all became Chicago police. Very smart guys, but just did not like to sit still, didn't like to sit in a desk. And one of my uncles, he ended up, may he rest in peace, he was a detective. So very, very smart guy. But my dad has this story about when they were kids, and my dad loved school, and his brother hated it. His brother said, I hate school. It's a bunch of women make you sit there and talk to them.
Well, I mean, I agree with the concept that school is not for everyone, but if we're to have schools, the kids need to be treated like little soldiers. Very austere. They need to
it's about manners.
have authority that
culture.
they respect.
I think it's very much about learning how to get along with people.
The problem with schools is that children are learning from children.
Yep.
That is not the way human society has ever functioned, and it can't function.
Well, and also nowadays we break them up into different age groups. So it's like you are with your grade, but children never developed that way historically. You were talking to older kids and younger kids. So you were not in this weird like niche where your development was stultified.
Right, there's a viral video that we bring up quite a bit where it's like kids post-World War II being interviewed. And it's like a 7-year-old kid going like, I'm quite concerned with the economy of Switzerland, following the war. And everyone's like, how do these kids sound like adults? Because the only thing they've ever been exposed to is adults having these conversations. Now what's happened is 10-year-olds don't learn from the teacher. They hate the teacher and ignore the teacher. They learn from 10-year-olds. And so you're basically running, you're taking copies of copies and copying off each other. Instead of the kids learning from adults, they're just doing random garbled nonsense. And this is the leftist way, where they say children are blank slates, and they want the kids to decide their own names for themselves and to figure out what gender they really are, instead of being told that they are a thing with a definitive form and a name.
Yeah, that's right. And you can tell the difference, by the way. I mean, at my church, there's the church I used to go to before I moved in the town that I went to college in. There was this really great like traditional Latin Mass community. And not everyone homeschooled, but some of the parents did. And like you could just tell their children were so precocious compared to the others. They spoke on a much more adult level with a more advanced vocabulary because they were speaking with their parents and they were actually being educated at their level instead of, as Tim mentioned, being held back by the dumbest kids in the class. Let's just be blunt about it. Like the slowest kid who the teacher has to slow down for.
It's absolutely infuriating to me because I was fortunate enough that I had enough, call it arrogance or testosterone, to tell everyone around me to shut up and I would do whatever I want. But the kids around me that I see that had potential, whose lives are ruined because of the public schooling system, it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
And the kids I knew who are dead because of the public school system, from gangs, from violence, and from drug use. It should never have been that way, and it wouldn't have been that way if we had a proper functioning society. But we've industrialized and we've communismized. Not completely, but this is absolutely insane that parents are like, I have no choice. We both have to work. Well, I can't tell you it's possible. I can't tell you what you have to do or what you can do. What I would suggest and what I try to do is strive to homestead. Do your best. Our plan for our daughter is going to be homeschool pods. We're fortunate that basically everybody in our community is having babies. So I think, let me just do some like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there's like 6 babies in the past several months. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
This means that they're going to grow up with each other. They're going to learn from us, but we are going to, there's a couple ways that I think it could and should be done. One of the ideas that I had was every parent takes a turn, one day of the week being the teacher for the kids. Mm-hmm. Or the easy route for everybody is you hire a teacher. However, considering we are all somewhat like moderate to very traditional in our community, you've got a lot of the moms who intend to be full-time moms. So I'm actually fairly confident that with this big network we have, the moms are going to be it's very possible they will be the teachers in the early years for our kids, which will allow us to be great.
I mean, look, there's, I think, 5.5, maybe 6 million students in California, and I think there's 7,000 high schools. 10,000 elementary and middle schools. So you got a large group of people that are the future, and we need to do everything we can to make the school system work, because there's no easy fix. And I think the iPhone thing or the telephones out of the schools is a very good start.
Well,
and also, most teachers, when they enter into the teaching business, it's because they really want to do it. And imagine what it's like.
I don't believe that for a second.
Oh, there's lots of great teachers.
I'm sure there are, but my experience with the industry and with people who have been teachers is that, so the friends of mine who got into teaching were like, I was surprised to find how many people hate this job and never wanted it. And the reason they took it was because they got a degree and couldn't find anything else, so they decided to get into teaching.
Well, that's probably true in a lot. I wouldn't say that's the majority, though. A lot
And
of
I
people
would
that
say
teach really
that,
love it, especially young kids.
In my and this is more anecdotal and personal, but there was probably one teacher that I've had in my life that I thought was actually a good teacher, and the rest were abusive to some capacity. From negligent to abusive is the experience I've had in the Chicago public school system.
It's terrible.
And it's worse than that, because we've got stories out of Chicago where there was one 6-year-old kid who they locked in a padded room because he was having a temper tantrum, and then they wouldn't let him out and left him there, so he defecated all over himself. That's Chicago public schools. So I can't speak to California, but my experience, a lot of people, is the school systems are all broken. I just say, look, there's going to be a lot of people who can't or don't care or whatever the issue is. But
they're the future of America.
The parents?
The kids.
Of course they are, which means the parents need to do everything in their power to give their kids the best opportunity imaginable. And it is surprising to me how many parents refuse to. I can't believe how many parents are like, I know full well that the state will take my child from me and sterilize them. I'm going to send them into the school anyway. How many people we've interviewed in the show who are like, I know full well that the high school in my area is showing kids pictures of dildos and teaching them about anal and things like this. I'm going to send them there anyway.
Oh, it's terrible.
And I'm like, why? Why are you doing that? I don't understand. But we do have to go to Super Chats. So smash the like button. Share the show with everyone you know. We're going to get your Rumble rants and Super Chats. Before we do, go to castbrew.com. Use promo code TURKEY20. And you can get 20% off everything, including subscriptions. So when you click that Mary's Ghost blend and you want to buy it, and I actually don't know how you subscribe to it, but if you subscribe, meaning you'll get it on a monthly basis, I think that's how it works, you'll get the 20% off forever. But we did this because we want you guys to stock up on Cast Brew Coffee just in time for the holidays, because how awesome would it be when all of your family comes and you're all ready to debate, and you're sitting there just getting excited to talk politics. But before you do, you brew a nice hot cup of Appalachian Nights. Casper.com. All right, what do we got here? Mallow Baby says, the counties, U.S., account for 70% of federal revenue. How is there no money to pay anything? Because it's BS. Black Nexus says, Snap is no different than UBI at this point, and I'm against it. If you use my taxes to buy Starbucks at a grocery store, then shut it down and destroy it. Agreed. What do we have here? Yaki India. If people want to live under socialism, then give them socialism. Make EBT Snap stores where purchases can be controlled. Here's an idea. You can choose to opt in. How about this? If you ever want to receive benefits, you opt into a system where you can never profit again. Well, let me clarify. You will never be allowed to profit until you pay back what was put in the system. So here's how it would work. You fall in hard times and you go, I have no choice. I need welfare. And they say, right this way. Here's your card. You now can purchase anything you want with it. However, any money you make will be taken from you instantly until it's paid back. So I know people are probably going to argue like we pay taxes into it already. My point is you can never make money. You will be in socialism forever in that system. You can't come. Oh, and you also can't vote.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I would say
can't vote while you're receiving benefits.
After a certain amount of time on benefits, I would say that a person shouldn't be able to vote. I think if this is someone who's been a net positive taxpayer their whole life, and so they weren't able to save a safety net, and now they're withdrawing from the system on hard times, I'm fine with that. But after a certain amount of time, I would agree. I think a person shouldn't be able to vote. You can't just take because their incentive is just going to be able to vote for more welfare.
It's a difficult one, but there is this terrible problem with. It's also the same problem with politicians voting. Because they're voting for things that keep them working.
Yep.
So that's a really interesting. Should you be able to vote for something that's going to benefit you but not others?
Yeah, exactly. Or to take from others to give to yourself.
Maybe we need to restrict voting to, maybe a smaller group of people, perhaps.
How about just an ID to start?
Yeah, can we just start with
God's
needing an
sakes,
ID? Oh my
honestly.
gosh, it's true.
You can't, because politicians will only vote for policies in their benefit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Flawed Legacy says, Tim and crew, do you think it's possible that grocery prices are only high because EBT is technically subsidizing grocery store in the same way colleges increase prices when the government is paying?
I would say
Yes.
it's not the only reason that they're
Right.
high, but it definitely brings the price up.
Yep, because it increases demand without increasing supply. More people are... so it depends. It's actually kind of difficult. I'd argue this. Theoretically, it might bring prices down because of volume. So, like we're working on pool water right now, and we absolutely could sell them for $20, but if you order them direct, you got to pay for shipping, which is it's water, so it's expensive. We're talking with distributors, and we're talking with the manufacturer. And so, if we do your standard glass bottle with a twist cap, they shrink wrap it. We can get them to around like $20, I think. I think it would end up being like 22 with taxes and all that stuff out the door. But we're not literally trying to just stick it to liquid death by making a cheap product. So I said, no, let's do cardboard boxes. Let's do paper stickers instead of plastic stickers. It's still going to have the cap with the plastic gasket, but we're not pretending we're anti-plastic the same way that liquid death is. So it's probably going to be like 25 out the door. If we sold 1 million cases, it would be 15 out the door. Because then we'd end up making like 3 cents per case, but the profit we get after cost, like it's way better than we get from selling for 25. So volume matters. If theoretically, if you increase the amount of people buying the product, Coca-Cola can drop the price way down because volume is where they find their profit. But if the purchasing pool shrinks, they're going to charge more money. So it's hard to say for sure. All right, Miss for Missy says, ooh, nice spooky intro. Mwahaha, my spooky fying of Timcast and their Discord is complete. Spooky leader Missa. Well, okay. Shani Tawadro says, I saw a news interview where a black woman was complaining about losing SNAP. She said that this is the government trying to hurt black women who can't get jobs. She added she doesn't want to work.
But this is Schrodinger's welfare. It's either something that white people disproportionately benefit from, because when people don't understand per capita, that's what they say. Oh, the largest group receiving these welfare benefits are white. But then when you go to cut those benefits, they go, oh, well, this is targeting black people. You can't have it both ways. Yeah, you're right. You can actually. No, I stand corrected. You can have it. You can have it that way. You can just lie. Yeah.
Indeed. Let's grab some more. TVPG says, attention Walmart shoppers, we will be closed November 3rd from 6:30 to 7:30. Sorry for any inconvenience. Well, there you go. Van Roy says, Mary, you probably shouldn't get a golden retriever. Those fur missiles would turn your black clothes into fursuits.
I wasn't considering it, but thanks
That's
for the advice.
All right. Rivka, the Jade Gamer, says, Tim, in 2020, the Supreme Court of the U.S. ruled in Ramos v. L.A. that state-level juries must be unanimous on every element of the crime. The concealed crime is an element of Trump's conviction. Indeed and agreed. That's why it's appealed. Now, I'm going to let you guys in on a secret. Do you know why the appellate court, which heard the case a year ago, hasn't ruled on it?
No, why?
Because they're in a Democrat jurisdiction. And if they come out right now and say Trump wins, they'll get lynched. But Trump is the president. And if they come out against Trump, Trump will come for them. Mm-hmm. So they're saying, let's do nothing because we don't want to be in the middle of this fight. But Trump was unjustly and wrongly convicted. And if we don't win the culture war, then you'll be in a gulag.
And that's why you got to support Twisted Plots, because we can't make culture war without culture.
Okay, let's see what we got here. Fork name change says, just want to say, much like gun laws don't prevent gun crimes, laws against vigilantes don't prevent vigilantes. Faith in the court's outcome does. What happens when that faith falters? Skyline says, easy to repeal the 19th. Toss out the ballots from women. Put the ballot box on the top of a pole, requiring a pull-up to get up there.
That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a possibility. All right. Evan Button says, she's right. The majority of mayors will work for what they think is safer for the kids and people, but through their doublespeak, she has forgotten what safer or good means to these psychopaths.
Interesting.
Let's see. This one's brutal. I don't know if I want to read it. Skyline says California people deserved their homes be burned down. All the choices they made from environments, politicians, taxes led to this, not a cause of nature like hurricanes.
I mean, all of the people who you think learned a lesson from it didn't, so.
I mean, the Pacific Palisades is, blue check, Democrat ground zero. So it's definitely, a very big Democratic community.
But when reality slaps them in the face, they don't learn a lesson from it. They don't get humbled by it. They just blame it on climate change.
Well, climate change does it all. I once saw climate change rob a bank. Got away.
I've seen climate change. Wow.
He stole the word we use for the number 20. And I chased him for miles to get it back, but he got away.
I'm sorry that happened to you.
Yeah, Seamus is supposed to get the reference, but he doesn't.
Was that something Abe Simpson said?
It is.
Yeah.
That's something Abe Simpson said.
Yeah.
Back when the Simpsons were funny and not weirdly woke, and Abe Simpson is now gay.
That's true. That did happen.
Did you know that Grandpa Simpson on The Simpsons is gay?
No, but I think I always thought he was gay.
Abe?
He has children.
What?
Grandpa Simpson has kids, and he tried dating Marge's mom.
That's right. That did happen.
Yeah,
Ms. Bouvier.
And then Homer was like, "We're going to be brother and sister."
That's right. And our kids will grow an extra finger and
is that what he said?
Turn pink. Yeah, and then it shows the kids and they look like
right.
children.
They look like real people.
Classic.
Yeah, those were the days.
Those were the days, man.
All right.
If you want other good cartoons, twistedplots.com, support the show.
The SIG piece says, Timcast team, the ads on Spotify uploads are still significantly louder than the program. Hilarious EBT Onic News segment today. By the way, 5-pack of chili, put them up, they titty, made me LOL. Yeah, that was one of the EBT from TikTok.
So gross.
Like, there's EBT of TikTok, and it's like listening to Boomhauer. You know who Boomhauer is from King of the Hill?
Yeah.
I'm on that dang old man food sandwich.
Bro, a food sandwich is like a black woman. She's like, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go to that store. I'll take that 5 can of chili and put up that titty. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, no, I have no idea what that was. I don't know. only the part where you grunted, do you know what I'm saying? Nam sane. Nam sane is what you say. All right, what do we got here? $10 Stu says, if you think about it, half of your paycheck gets taken to support a bunch of pets you didn't even know you had. Those pets are also actively conspiring and voting against your interests. We can't keep doing this. That's why I'm saying shut it down. I don't care. Everybody's like, we have to wean. Nope. Off. Bro, if I was president, I'd be the craziest MFer like ever in government. I would just be doing things. I'd be like, try me. I ain't no way I'd turn Snap back on.
I think that's what we've got.
I would be awesome.
We've got president do things right now.
To a great degree, I think it's probably true. And I think the reality is we're learning that the president alone can't do it. You need a good staff. I think he learned that the hard way. And so now he's got some good people around him. I hope, come November 1st, Snap is off. Just off. We got to get off the addiction. We got to get off the drug, the welfare drug. Okay? People should be doing? They should be farming. They should have a homestead. We should spread out from the cities to the best degree that we can. And people should grow food in their backyard and take care of themselves. Everybody, even Seamus.
I don't want to.
How many chickens do you have, Seamus?
I actually did have some chickens. I did, yeah.
Did you eat them?
I told I moved.
Did you eat the chickens?
I ate one of them.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Delicious.
Good job.
It was delicious.
They are delicious. We had rooster. Because we breed the chickens, so we ended up with, I think, like 16 roosters.
Oh, yeah, it happens.
Yeah, and so we were like, let's eat them. And my wife made a rooster chili that everyone loved so much. It just was gone in like 3 minutes. It was amazing.
Did you pluck it and kill it and do it?
No.
You had it done?
We had we have, I think what we did was our chicken tender, Kim, took care of it for us. We have someone who works here who handles that stuff. I'd do it myself if I wasn't doing all the work for this stuff. I absolutely would just absolutely. You put them in that little funnel thing where you stick their heads through it and you chop their head off, and then all the blood drains out and it stinks, and you got to cut them up. Yeah, that sounds fun.
We've done a lot of chicken practicing things at the ranch, and one of the things is what I think is really strange is that the chickens you eat, they only live 52 days, and if you wait too long, they actually disintegrate. It's crazy.
Whoa, really?
Oh yeah,
disintegrate.
And the turkeys too, by the way.
Wait, you mean like they're alive and they start just crumbling?
They just don't. Yeah, they don't hold. They die. The turkeys actually got holes in them because I didn't want to kill them.
What kind of chickens you got?
Swear to God.
We have chickens that have been
crazy.
alive for 5-6 years already.
No. So do I. I have those too. But the specific group of chickens that you buy, which are supposed to say super tender, and
Broilers?
You're talking about those like GMO chickens that like have.
They can't walk.
they're like little. You hatch. You get them. They're already hatched. You order them hatched, and then you raise them in a. We have these like mobile things that move around, and yeah, you have to. If you don't kill them on the day you're supposed to, they're not edible.
I know that they get tough when they get old.
Well, they get tough if they walk too.
They walk?
Yeah, if they walk, if they're really truly free range, they're much.
Oh,
tougher.
right, because the muscles move.
Yeah.
Well, I think you got to eat them the way nature's intended. So we had like 16 roosters. We killed 13 of them. And I got to be honest, just like rooster drumstick didn't do it for me. It's not the same.
Right.
You know, it was tougher and it tasted different. But when cooked properly in the chili, everybody immediately like when they tried the baked rooster, they were like, it's okay. The chili though, it was gone in like 3 minutes. Everybody filled up on it. It was fantastic.
We do these
That's how you do
organic
it.
turkeys from the sky up in Fallbrook every year, and they're super skinny. And I mean, they just don't look like proper turkeys. We cook them in underground for like 16 hours in these big ovens, but they're so tough.
We got tons of wild turkey out here.
Do you?
Yeah, and you know what I love about them city folk? First of all, I'm not going to pretend to be a country because I'm from Chicago, but at least I understand that turkeys fly. And it's funny when people who like have never been out in the middle of nowhere come and see a flock of flying turkeys go by, and they go, "What are those? Like, turkeys? What? Turkeys fly and they sleep in trees."
No, I remember when I was a little kid and I learned that turkeys could fly. It blew my mind. I was like, wait, in the wild they fly?
Yeah.
Well,
and
I have swans, and they fly, and mine won't fly.
Oh, well, I mean, do you
It's
run?
lazy.
Do you
It's
run
lazy.
everywhere?
It's not well motivated.
They don't go anywhere. They don't leave the pond.
Do you run everywhere? I mean, you know,
But just because I can, I don't. You know.
we could run too, but you know.
I don't think they know they can fly.
The other thing too is people don't know what turkeys look like.
That's so
because
sad.
Everybody's used to the picture of the turkey when the male turkey's puffing up and threatening you.
Yeah.
So when people see the wild turkeys and they're actually thin and small, they ask like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "That's a bunch of turkeys."
It's Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah. And then they're like, "But I thought turkeys looked like." Well, walk up to the guy and see what he does, and then he, you know, and then he looks all funny.
And he mogs you.
That's what he does.
That's literally it.
They put their arms out and their tail gets all wide and they go.
That's alpha male behavior.
Exactly, 100%
Well,
alpha.
I respect it. They're like, "Get away from my girl." What you thought? All right, what do we got here? 8-Ball Jacket says, in New York, Snap can be used to purchase hot food at participating Popeyes and McDonald's.
No way.
And even all-you-can-eat Chinese buffet. What?
That's a joke. That's
Search New York Restaurant Meals Program. Feds need to invade New York to establish the Constitution and common sense. I wouldn't be surprised.
That's crazy.
You could buy candy bars.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not for good fresh food anymore. It's not a nutritional diet.
Welfare should be a bag of flour and some powdered milk. That's it.
Welfare should be we give you a bullet and tell you where the turkeys are.
No, those are my turkeys.
Go get your own.
Or, I mean, you know, honestly, welfare could be... Here's the idea. If you need to go on welfare, then what we do is you opt into the welfare program where you get on a bus with your family, and there are these big 40-foot walls with razor wire on top, and this gigantic Jurassic Park-style gate that opens up. They drive you in and drop you off and say the welfare program is, 15,000 acres of open land. Good luck. That's it. And then they close the door behind you. That's just you're there you go. And good luck.
I think
there's
food
like rich people who
pantries are
take
great. The pantry idea is great, where you can get a meal cooked and it's better managed. But
I think there should just be no welfare at all.
Well, she's talking about food pantry though. That's
no, I'm saying it should all be private. And to be fair, if there's a food pantry that's private, that's fine. I think society worked way better when our charity came from churches. It was small, localized communities. And I'm not saying this in a religious sense. I'm saying when you fell on hard times and you were a good person, the community would do what they could to help you out. Insurance originated from, if my house burns down, I'll help you rebuild yours.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, you got to do it. So then when an accident happened, everyone's like, we have to do it. Now it's just like, don't know you. That's not my purse.
I mean, it might be really.
Come on,
be
King of
really
the Hill. You thought they'd
interesting
get past me?
No, that's my purse.
That's my purse. I don't know you.
There's I don't know you. Is that what he said? That's my purse.
That's my purse. I don't know you.
Yeah, and then he kicked you in the balls.
Classic. Anyway, sorry, you were saying something.
I was saying maybe with Amazon with laying off all those people, they could open up a bunch of food pantries and stock them and feed people since they're saving so much money in payroll.
Wow. Yeah.
All the things they don't want to do. All right. Invader J says, Seamus, I'm getting baptized this Sunday. Just had my class tonight. It's been a long, hard road to get to this point. Deus Vult.
God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. I will pray for you. Thank you, man. Thank you for saying that. That's beautiful.
My favorite Freedom Tunes ending is when Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, and Seamus are with the Pope, and then Seamus puts on the helmet. Is that what it is?
Yeah. I think, or maybe Walsh does, but yeah, we take the Holy Land.
Or Knowles. Was it Knowles? Yeah, you take the Holy Land belongs to Rome.
We did a cartoon where it was like Candace and Shapiro debating. Sorry.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Freudian slip.
Whoa, what happened there?
What kind of fan fiction are you making, Seamus?
Exactly. Don't look at the unused Freedom Tunes script archive, all the fanfics I'm writing. No, that was we had them debate on like the whatever podcast or something. We must have done this video like 3 years ago. And yeah, then in the end, it was like, this is what should really happen in the whole.
And then it like the screen blinks really quick. The Holy Land belongs to Rome.
No, I didn't do that. I didn't put that in there.
It's Michael Knowles, Seamus, and Matt Walsh wearing Templar armor, and
Oh my God.
and then you say something like, "Yes, my eminence," or something like that, or "Your eminence."
Dude, this crazy thing is that like after over 600 videos, I can't even remember the exact dialogue there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's too much.
We should pull that up.
Yeah, we will. That'd be funny. All right, we'll grab one more. Let's see what we got here. Eclipse. What did that say? Eclipse. I don't know. Tim, you're selling water. Pretty sure it comes from the ground, and it's supposed to be. Pickle your old chickens. Eastern Europeans know what's up. Is that what you do? You pickle them? Well, we don't eat the chickens. We just eat the eggs, and they're fantastic. When the egg shortages were happening, ain't nobody working here had a problem. We actually have a perk of when you come by here, you work here, you get free eggs. And Libby, she comes on periodically, and she always grabs a carton of eggs on her way out because that's what they're for, free eggs. That's
they're so good for you too. If they're organic, they're so good for you.
That's
right
awesome.
from the chicken's butt.
I remember my first time having like an actual farm fresh egg. Blew my mind. I was like, wait, the yolk's not supposed to be light yellow?
You just take it. Well, I mean, it's
I'm not
it
gonna
could
lie,
be.
they don't taste different.
I know, but they
me.
look brighter and happier.
I can taste the love that
okay.
comes from them. It's just it's
Ours
like a
ours
spiritual
definitely tastes like richer, I think, and when you scramble them, they're really dark yellow. I love them.
Yeah, the store bought ones typically you'll have like a standard yellow, and that could be true for depending on the kind of chicken you have. Some of the chickens we have will have like a dark orange. It's got more iron or B vitamins, I think, in it. We're gonna go to the uncensored portion of the show at rumble.com/Timcast IRL. So smash that like button, share the show with everyone you know. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Elaine, do you want to shout anything out?
Yeah, find me on Lipstick Farmer on Instagram. #Lipstick Farmer on Instagram.
I like that username. That's cute.
Thank you.
You should go subscribe to Pop Culture Crisis. We go live every Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. And help me get TikTok famous. That is also Mary Archived. And of course, head over to castbrew.com and grab yourself a bag of Mary's Ghost Blend.
Turkey 20 for 20% off.
Turkey 20 for 20% off.
My name's Seamus Coughlin. I'm the creator of Freedom Tunes. The technological infrastructure we have for delivering stories is a miracle. Unfortunately, it is dominated by people who hate you and hate your way of life, and they've been slowly chipping away at your culture through propaganda. That's why myself and my team, after making over 600 animated videos and getting hundreds of millions of views with $0 spent on marketing, have decided we are going to make a full-length show. We need your help in order to get it fully funded. Go over to twistedplots.com, pledge $25. You'll get to watch our full-length, 25-minute-long pilot episode. You will be helping us create the future of entertainment, which is right-wing and which is grassroots, because we cannot win the culture war unless we are making culture. Go to twistedplots.com and support us.
We will see you all over at rumble.com/TimcastIRL in about 30 seconds. Thanks for hanging out.